A Cypress at Ardendale revocation, a request to revoke a portion of 30-foot public drainage servitude located south of Greenwell Springs Road, west of North Ardenwood Drive, Council District 6, Dunn Jr. Commission action, no hearing before the Planning Commission is required per the UDC Section 3.6.3. We have a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll take it to council. Motion to approve by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Item 2, Chapter 4, Site Plans and Plats, Unified Development Code Amendment to revise Sections 4.2.3, Manufactured Home Parks, and Section 4.2.4, Recreational Vehicle Parks, pertaining to minimum frontage and area requirements. Commission action, motion to approve, carried 7-0. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Darazan, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, Florida Corridor Small Area Plan. The Florida Corridor Plan focuses on the 12-mile stretch of Florida Street and Florida Boulevard, half-mile radius from the parish length of Florida. Council District 4, Moog, Council District 6, Dunn Jr., Council District 7, Darazan, Council District 9, Hudson, Council District 10, Coleman, and Council District 11, Adams. Commission action, motion to approve, carried 7-0. Open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Please state your name for the record.
Thank you. Gretchen Seamers. I'm with Build Baton Rouge. We are excited to present the Corridor Master Plan with you today for Florida Boulevard. Before I introduce our team to go over the plan's concepts, I want to give a little background on the impetus for the plan. The Florida Corridor has long been a dividing line for the city parish. The mayor's office, along with Build Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber of Commerce, and other city leadership have made the corridor a priority over the past several years. Economic revitalization, safety of people moving throughout the corridor, and urban design have been some of the major concerns. The establishment of the Amazon facility at the former Cortana Mall site allowed Build Baton Rouge to create a new economic development district and tax increment finance district. When we established the district, we worked with the Metro Council members, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, and the Mayor's Office to establish the priorities for the district. At that time, the consensus was that the comprehensive corridor plan for the entire length of Florida was the #1 priority for the district, because Florida is a gateway to downtown and the city's most traveled thoroughfare. Following the adoption of this plan, the subsequent priorities for the tax increment finance district are a community center for District 6, public-private real estate development partnerships to implement this plan, and streetscape and facade improvement projects. It's critical that we're here today to ask for your approval for this master plan so that it's implementable by all relevant departments as a small area plan as a part of future BR. Finally, I'd like to thank the council members and their staff who've been providing thoughtful feedback and attending public meetings throughout this process over the past year. And with that, I'd like to introduce our consultant team, Stephen Colston and Perry Franklin.
Thank you, Gretchen. And thank you, members of the council. I'm Perry Franklin with Franklin Associates, and we had the great honor of handling all of the public engagement for the Florida Corridor Plan. And I don't know if the presentation can be pulled up on the screens. There we go. Okay, next slide. So the Florida Corridor Plan asked the question, how can the Florida Corridor become a more resilient place where current and future neighborhood assets, residents, and businesses and visitors thrive? That really was the question. How can you look at a 12-mile section of East Baton Rouge Parish, beginning at the levee in downtown Baton Rouge and going all the way to the parish line in Livingston, and create a strategy, a plan where all people can see themselves reuniting on that line? And that was the challenge. If you look at the demographics of East Baton Rouge Parish, 80% of the people who live north of Florida Boulevard are African American, and south of Florida Boulevard, 80% are non-African American. And so the challenge was significant and immense. And so we looked at this question and used this for our project. Next. We have gone through the process. The Build Baton Rouge Board has approved it. The Cortana Economic Development District has approved it. The Baton Rouge Planning Commission has approved it, and tonight we're before you asking for your approval. You can see the letters of support that have been received for this Florida Corridor Plan, Downtown Development District, Capital Area Transit System, One Rouge Coalitions, Baton Rouge Area Chamber, Center for Planning Excellence, and the Mayor's Office have all submitted letters of support in support of this plan. Next slide. You can see building awareness. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we took this project to the people. Every meeting that took place with this Florida Corridor project was along all of the councilmatic districts that touch, all 5 of the councilmatic districts that touch this 12-mile section of East Baton Rouge Parish. There's been no other planning effort that has been more significant and more monumental than this project. Next. Here's something that we're very proud of, the advisory committee. And these advisory committee members were not name alone. These individuals really attended, really participated, really came out and said, okay, I didn't understand this. Let's have a side meeting. And we took the time to meet with these individuals. This is the people's plan. This is not the plan of Perkins and Will. This is not the plan of Bill Baton Rouge. And so this was very intentional, putting together this advisory committee so that you can see this private sector, public sector, faith-based members that really participated in this more than 12-month planning process. Next. The outreach efforts. We were very intentional in making sure that people could not come before you this evening and say, I've never heard of this Florida Corridor Plan. Now, I'm certain that there's somebody who can say that, but we made it.
Barry, we got about 5 seconds left.
Okay. You can see here over 4,000 residents and stakeholders engaged across this process. And it's by the numbers. And we can stand behind these numbers, and we're very pleased to present this figure to you tonight. And now I'll ask Stephen Colston, who's the project manager for Perkins and Will, to take it from here. Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate you having us come before you this afternoon. We're, as Perry said, very excited about the outcomes of this. Next slide. You should have all of the backup and detail submitted to you in your package, but I wanted to share with you there's a detailed breakdown. We walk through the plan, share background, context, the process that we went through, as Perry just shared, and gone deeply into the discovery needs and got into specifics around the recommendations, including 6 specific corridor areas, neighborhood centers along the corridor. We also had corridor strategies along the entire 12-mile length from the parish line to the river, and looked at those in terms of land use, placemaking, and transportation strategies. We identified 6, next slide please. We identified 6 neighborhood center corridors. We described those really kind of beginning from the downtown area, moving all the way out towards Sherwood. And we had deep engagement, as Perry had mentioned, and Gretchen sort of teed up with each of the different, actually with many of you in your offices and your staff as we went through the process, as well as the neighborhood neighbors and residents of that corridor. Next. We went through a pretty holistic process of evaluating each one of these neighborhood centers as described here and defined on this slide. And next. And we looked at where we could get into opportunity alignment. One thing I want to clarify, I think Gretchen and her team really clarified to us at the beginning of this process, is we want this plan to be visionary. We want to reach for the stars. We really want this to be the uniting line, as Perry mentioned, for the parish. But we want it to be tactical, we want it to be actionable, and we want it to be implementable, and we want it to be data-driven. So as a byproduct of that, we grounded our near-term catalyst sites in real estate market analytics with our partners from HR&A advisors, and we also looked at midterm and long-term opportunities. We know we can't accomplish everything that everybody wants today, but we know that there's a remarkable amount of opportunity to advance those things. Next. As one example of one of our catalytic projects that it identifies near-term interventions as well as midterm is one sample area from the Mid-City Vision area where we springboarded off of plans that were happening before, leveraging Move BR initiatives, thinking about placemaking, and then talking about specific interjections. Next slide. Within each of the 6 neighborhood centers, based on market demand and real estate economics, we identified 3 catalytic sites that you describe here. And I'm going to go through these very, very quickly, but I'm going to talk about one kind of to illustrate what you see in more detail in the rest of the document.
You've got about 10 seconds.
Okay.
But any of the council members can ask you to clarify something, which could give a little more time if need be. And I'll give you 10 more seconds.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. We looked at the Stitch area, which is the location around Renaissance Park. Next slide, and the transformation of that, which looks at streets, canopies, and redevelopments along that. And you can flash forward to the last two slides. I want to just point out, some of you may ask a question is, how does this get paid for? How does it get implemented? The potential, if you can go to the slide that says, next to the last slide, which is potential funding sources, we went through a pretty exhaustive exercise, really looking at strategies for implementation. So I welcome any specific questions or comments.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you. In the plan and some of the community engagement that myself, George Derazan, and others in our office participated in, there was in each neighborhood center and I may be using the term wrong, I heard you just say catalyst site, but there was an economic driver in each community center. Can you name those and talk about the importance of those economic drivers? And I may be using the wrong term. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, Councilmember Dunn. We had 6 neighborhood centers that were identified along those. Each one of those neighborhood centers has a specifically identified catalytic project. So we have one catalytic project in each one of the designated neighborhood centers.
But name those in each center.
Off the top of my head, there were 3 that we focused on the economic development side of that.
Gretchen, can you come help and name the specific catalytic sites?
The first
It's
catalytic
page
site
68.
was in the Stitch, and that was based on the economic development. That's the one I just briefly touched on there. The second one that was based on the economics was in the Mid-City neighborhood, which is very specifically targeted around the location of the Bridge Center. And then the first one was around Renaissance. And then the third one is at the intersection of the old GM site at Foster in Florida, which was leveraging off of the community college, Breck, the Rouse investment, and Mid-City Towers, where we actually held one of our community engagement sessions. Those are the 3 that are based on economics. The other 3, which I think was your specific question, the other 3 are potential opportunistic interventions that are more about placemaking and place creation and activity.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Moak.
Thank you. Look, I've been great working with y'all on this. I'd love to see it coming through. I've been to several events that y'all have done, and I think this is a great plan. I think it's got a lot of vision in it and stuff, but I just want to ask something real quick. And I'm looking at the Sherwood area. Give me an example of executing this. And what I mean by that, the Sherwood area is, I would say, is kind of your area that has a bunch of old used car lots, tire places, empty shopping centers. Give me an execution plan as far as moving this forward, other than this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what it looks like when it's done, and it's great. I want to know how we get there quickly. You know, I know as a government, we can't go in and say, well, we just don't like to look at the front of your building, and I think it would look better if we built this 40-story building here, which is a multifamily and live, work, and play area. We can't just go say, hey, you know, we don't like that. So give us an idea of how we're going to execute this to move it forward to where people see the results of study after study after study. And it's not just the Florida Boulevard study. It's multiple studies that get done throughout government because you study everything to death. So give me a little bit of that.
Sure. Actually, I think the Sherwood Catalyst site is probably one of the better examples of a faster intervention. So out there, we're looking at collaborating with some of the assets that are already working on the ground. One of the significant assets that we have in that area is the multicultural businesses. And so there's a lot of desire from the community to have more places to eat, more places to go that are kind of outside, kind of a third place, as you will. And so we're hoping to work with the business associations out there to help do some public space, public-private partnerships so that we can improve, maybe create a plaza where there's an empty, empty parking lot. Maybe create some programming for a night market or something where people can go, where improvements can be made to a facade of a building. We're not planning out there any large, multi-story housing developments or anything like that. It's more going to be targeted interventions for places that people want to go.
Okay, so y'all have a picture of it in here, I believe. Looking at and look, I get calls and complaints on this all the time. I thought I saw a picture of it. Florida, I think it's Florida Boulevard in Littlejohn, right there around the Sherwood area, before the Sherwood and Florida area. I mean, there's an old, I think it used to be a Woolco building, if anybody remembers what that is. Used to go, parents used to take a shopping there all the time, but that one's been complained about all the time. They did a little work on the front of it just to, I think, make it compliant, so they literally don't have to tear the whole thing down because it was falling down and such. I met with several residents in the back there. There's kind of some of that stuff all around, and they're giving me pictures of the tire shops across the street, and they're just stacked up tires on. In any of this, are there any incentives to move forward to get them to faster? I think that the public engagement, and you take an empty lot and if you get a few businesses together that want to throw, some nice community area, park area, or doing little events like that, that's great. But we're talking about physical structure and restructuring all of Florida Boulevard. And I'm focused on the Sherwood Forest area, or that corridor right there. I know each council member has something else. But I just want to hear some actual result-driven stuff that we can do, incentives, to where, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. We need to move forward with this. What is it going to take to get you to rip the front of the face of that building down and bring it up to date and do certain things?
Yeah, so one of the first implementation items that we're already kind of having discussions with the planning department on extending the zoning district for that area. And so within that zoning district area, we'll be able to create incentives for addressing some of the blight and
Councilman Moe, you want to check your time?
misuse.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so addressing the blight. Speaking of that, we've had it brought up to us before. And again, this is a major problem along this particular corridor, probably in some of the others. The signage that is just, we're talking about poles that are bent over and the facing blown out. It's been like that for years. Is there anything in any of this plan or stuff that y'all seen in the studies and all that we can get rid of that faster, that we can implement certain things? And that may be something for parish attorney or legal or someone else in city parish that can answer that. But that's the kind of stuff that I feel like if you start really cleaning that up without having to send notices to 42 people, wait for the great-grandkids and their pets to write a letter back to you saying, yes, you can tear the sign down now.
Yeah. Yes, that will be addressed in the zoning overlay district as well, the sign amortization. It's a major issue.
Okay. All right. Again, I think y'all have done an amazing job. I love the look and the feel and all these studies. You can put out nice pictures and everything all day long. People just want to see us get there.
Agreed.
That was one of the things with Government Street. I thought it moved really quick. I thought it's great. It's a live, work, play area. I know it's down to one street, but that's what I'd like to see with Florida Boulevard.
I would say the one thing, just understanding the business of the parish and the city, we focused on the whole funding sources component of this. And so I would encourage you to investigate a little bit further in Appendix 1, the breakdown of the detail of the recommendations in that funding sources memo. And we also supplement that with different funding resources, because I think this is one of those projects that it's going to take the village, right? It's going to take partnerships with your MPO, with the state, with the city parish, with federal grants and opportunities, of affordable housing, private sector folks, private investment, community development that are all going to need to come together to make incremental interventions along the entire 12 miles. But I think there are some low-hanging fruits that, especially some of the regulatory things, that then can be backed up with enforcement.
Thank you very much.
Councilman Hurst.
So offline, some conversations that I've been having with the theater director of Cats is that what y'all are doing here, he needs to be a major part of that for the entire stretch of Florida. And one of the reasons why is because we can improve Plank Road, but the more buses we put on the street, the more they may come faster, but it still congest traffic, right? And we start looking at airline highway improvements, Florida Boulevard improvements, Plank Road, even Plank Road improvements. We need to look at how do we incorporate, I know this is far-fetched, but some sort of trolley system or something that can go down within the median so that we can have parking rides from Livingston Parish, parking rides from Ascension, so that we can reduce some of the impact of traffic as they come in during rush hour and out during rush hour as well. I mean, making it pretty is great, but how do we make it more functional so that we impact where people truly live, work, and play? Thank you.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Yes, Perry, Gretchen, I want to give you guys an opportunity to close out with any additional statements that you may have been able to make in these short windows. But before I do that, I want to say no plan is perfect. I can tell you, you guys have made a great effort. We're reaching out to all of the council districts that this corridor impacts, get our input, get the public's input, and have a good focus on revitalizing this area and be a part of bringing it back to its heyday and even surpass its heyday. What I can tell you from investors and developers who reach out to my office directly through the chamber and they put them in contact with my office is two things that they bring up when they're local or from another state that they see what's going on in Baton Rouge as it relates to this area. They bring up the Amazon project that they see as something hopeful and promising for them to invest, and they see a concerted effort and a plan by the city parish to revitalize the Florida area, and that's your plan. So that's a good thing to know that there's a focus on revitalizing this area, and there's some energy and resources being put behind that. So I just want to tip my hat to you guys for the work you've done, and thank you for interfacing with me in my office and receiving our feedback and constructive criticism and all of that stuff. So it's been a good partnership, and look forward to continue to work with you guys.
Thank you very much. I don't have much to add about the content of the plan, but I do want to just make a statement that I was actually really surprised and inspired by the participation that we got. I mean, we did a lot of outreach and a lot of different media, but the people that came out, they are very passionate about improving this part of the city and about bringing people together, and that was really great to see, and I'm really proud of that.
Thank you.
I don't want to counteract what you said, Commissioner Dunn, but one thing I would say is it's not our plan. It's your plan. This has been a whole community investment. We're a facilitator in the process to really tee up and identify the priorities that you and your community have identified. And it is, I was just sharing a moment ago with the council member, it's been a really a delight to work with you. I think your community's rolled up its sleeves, leaned in very deliberately from the leadership of your community down to the day-to-day users of the whole corridor, and it's been an honor, and we're thankful for the chance to work with you on this.
Thank you, guys.
Councilman Hurst.
Gretchen, I saw a face when I said park and ride, when you looked at it when I started talking about improving multimodal transportation. So I just want to see what the face was for, if that discussion happened, and what came from it.
Yeah, so we had a lot of conversations about a lot of different potential modes of transportation along the corridor, and ultimately we didn't find that the partnership with the state, as you know, it is a state jurisdiction road, that they were amenable to any alternative modes of transportation at this time. But we have maintained some open lines of communication, and we'll be continuing to talk with them about that in the future.
Councilman Hudson.
I wanted to ask real quick about the Florida West Design Overlay District. In your strategies, implementation strategy, you talk about lowering the barrier to neighborhood scale infill development processes. But it could be my lack of understanding on an overlay district. But my understanding of an overlay district is that it's more restrictive, right? So you still have to comply with the UDC, but then you have an additional layer of a design overlay district on top of that. So those two strategies seem to conflict with each other. What are we doing there? I guess
Yeah,
is the question.
so you're correct in that the underlying zoning would still apply, but the overlay district could have incentives for additional types of development. So, for example, a density bonus provision or alternative setbacks, things like that.
Okay, I was not aware you could do that with an overlay district, so that's great. Thank you.
I'd
Councilwoman
like to
Coleman.
make a motion that we accept this plan.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Rocca. It needs 8 votes to pass. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, motion is approved. Item number 4, 7570 Jefferson Highway to rezone property from light commercial C1 to light commercial 3, LC3, located at the northwest intersection of Jefferson Highway and Corbett Boulevard, Council District 11, Adams. Commission action, motion to approve, carried 7-0. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, 2327 O'Neill Lane to rezone property from light commercial C1 to heavy commercial 1, HC1, located at the southeast intersection of O'Neill Lane and Bristow Avenue, Council District 9, Hudson. Commission action, motion to defer to September. It was motion to approve, 7-0. Do we have anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Hudson, motion to approve. Second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, North 40th Street to Willie Chase Senior Drive, proposed street name change for North 40th Street to Willie Chase Senior Drive, located north of Odell Street, south of Jefferson Avenue, and east of North 39th Street, Council District 7, Darazan. Commission action, motion to approve, carried 7-0. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Darazan, motion to approve. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to adjourn. We'll take a 5-minute recess between this meeting and the next. Yeah.
Okay, here, let me set up.
Let's get Ashley over here.
She's coming.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Council Chamber of East Baton Rouge Parish. It's always good to have you tuned in, whether you're watching on Cox, on AT&T, on Facebook Live, YouTube, or if you have joined us, as we always recommend you to do, at brla.gov. And we also archive our meetings. And on behalf of the council, it's always a pleasure to have you as part of our government. And at this time here is the Mayor President Pro Tem of East Baton Rouge Parish, Councilman Brandon Noel. Councilman?
Thank you, Dennis. Call the meeting to order, the Metropolitan Council meeting this Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. Ashley, do we have a quorum?
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to have the presentation of colors commemorating September 11th from the Baton Rouge and St. George Fire Department Color Guards. We'll have an invocation by Pastor Russ Cripps of Acacia Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from Tucker Gill. We're going to have a moment of silence after the invocation and commemoration for September 11th. Please rise if you can.
I want to thank you for the fact that you have kept us safe and you continue to keep us safe. And Heavenly Father, I just ask that you would bless this meeting tonight. The majority of the people that are involved in this are servants, and being a servant is one of the highest callings of all of humanity. Just about everybody in this room, Lord, has some sense of compassion for a greater good, and they have influence for that greater good. And Lord, I just pray that you would guide our words tonight, that you would guide our motives tonight, that you would just give us wisdom, as the book of James says, that if we lack wisdom, we can ask for it and you'll give it. And Lord, I just pray for that to happen right now. And Lord, so much of your word, you invite us into things tonight we're inviting you into this meeting. So would you lead, would you guide, would you bless? It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So this is my nephew, Tucker Gill. Tucker is learning ASL at school, and so he's going to do his best to sign the Pledge of Allegiance with us. And so, Tucker, take it away.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Very good, Tucker. Good job, bud.
Forward, on. Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Tucker. Okay, we'll have approval and adoption of the minutes of the Metropolitan Council meeting of August 28th, 2024 by Council Administrator Treasurer. Do we have a motion? Motion approved by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion approved. Ashley, can you please read the introductions?
Section 2.12, Introductions. Number 2, the Metropolitan Council, sitting as the Board of Review on Parish Assessments by Council Administrator Treasurer. Number 3, authorizing the Mayor President to accept a grant award in the amount of $35,758 to enhance collaborative planning for mass dispensing response in coordination with the Louisiana Office of Public Health, Bureau of Community Preparedness for Strategic National Stockpiles Cities Readiness Initiative by Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Director. Number 4, authorizing the Mayor President to amend the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with Live After 5, Inc. for additional support for the Fall Outdoor Concert Series from $75,000 to an amount not to exceed $82,500 by Mayor President. Number 5, to urge and request the city parish government of East Baton Rouge to name a portion of the building or a room at the Charles R. Kelly Community Center located at 3535 Riley Street in honor of Judge Wilson O. Fields by Councilman Darrell Hurst. Condemnation introductions. Number 6, Gregory Donnell Williams et al., 10107 Avenue L, Council District, Avenue J, Council District 2, Banks. Number 7, Katie Evans, 9945 Avenue B, Council District 2, Banks. Number 8, Franklin Wilson and Adriana Moore Wilson, 1588 Swan Avenue and 1590 Swan Avenue, Council District 2, Banks. Number 9, Franklin Wilson and Adriana Moore Wilson, 1584 Swan Avenue and 1586 Swan Avenue, Council District 2, Banks. Number 10, Brothers Baton Rouge, LLC, 12415 Dolores Drive, Council District 5, Hearst. Number 11, the estate of Wendy Leonard Tolliver, 4463 Adams Avenue, Council District 7, Darazan. Number 12, Stella Posey Washington and Ike Washington, 1006 Progress Street, Council District 7, Darazan. Number 13, Hughes Memorial United Methodist Church, 850 North 38th Street and 842 North 38th Street, Council District 7, Darazan. Number 14, RDHW Ventures LLC, 2855 Millerville Road, Council District 8, Amarosa. Number 15, Sue A. Lewis Jackson et al., 177 Tyler Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 16, Morris Anthony Gosserand, 1988 75th Avenue, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 17, Lee Martin and the estate of Verlena Coleman Martin, 1160 Charles T. Smith Drive, Council District 10, Coleman. Adjudicated property introductions. Number 18, Lot 78, Square 1, Subdivision Progress Park, Metro Council District 7, Darazan, Moda Own. All items require reading, and a motion to introduce all items is in order.
We have a motion.
to introduce all items except 15. Delete 15, please.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Rocca to introduce all items, save for item 15. Do we have any opposition? Motion carries. We have a point of personal privilege by Councilman Dunn Jr.
As those of you who are in the chamber are dressed in white join me at the podium, I want to make a point of personal privilege to recognize Frankie Beverly. For those of you all who don't know, Frankie passed away this past week, and he was a legendary music icon, singer and band leader of the group Maze. Frankly, was from the Philadelphia area, but there was some of us in the state of Louisiana, particularly in New Orleans, that you couldn't tell us that he wasn't from Louisiana or New Orleans. Performing many times at the Singer Theater, at the Lakefront Arena, at Essence Fest, even performed once at the River Center, which was at that time called the Centralplex. And many of us will also tell you that us, our children, our parents, and our grandparents would tell you that his music and their music was in many ways the soundtrack of our lives, being present at graduations, at family reunions, at weddings, and things of that nature. So while we're dressed in white, Councilwoman Amorosa told me that you don't wear white after Labor Day, was it? And Rowdy told me and Darryl that welcome to the NSYNC band with our white jackets on. Boys to men, I'm sorry. But we're wearing all white because this was Frankie's signature attire. He wore white, and when you attended their concerts and their performances, the artists wore all white in tribute to them. So we want to take this point of personal privilege to recognize and honor Frankie Beverly. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councilwoman Coleman.
Say good afternoon to all of you, and we're grateful to be able to stand here in white. Our love letter to Frankie. This is the capital city musical tribute to an icon. You know, it's all about leaving a legacy. So we need to be mindful of the legacy that we will leave. And this will be Sunday, September the 29th at 5 o'clock p.m. in Aurora Plaza. So it will be family friendly, lawn chairs welcome. All white attire is requested again, even after Labor Day. The song that resonates profoundly to us is We Are One. And so, hope to see you there, Baton Rouge. That is September 29th at 5 o'clock p.m., Aurora Plaza. Thank you.
All right, I know everybody's coming back to their seats. We're going to jump. Actually, the change orders, we're going to go to item 119. River Center AHU replacement construction. Contractor Bob Bernard and Associates Mechanical LLC. Change order amount is for days, 155 days. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 120, Nicholson Drive at Ben Hur, contractor Omega Foundation Services, Inc. Change order amount $31,434.31. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilman Hurst. Any opposed? Motion carries. Final acceptances. Item 121, River Center AHU replacement contractor Bob Bernard and Associates Mechanical. Final cost $4,019,000. Anyone here wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams. Second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 122, Nicholson Drive at Ben-Hur, contractor Omega Foundation Services, Inc. Final cost $1,673,315.88. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion to approve by Councilman Hudson. Second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. Acceptance of low bids. Item 123, annual parish-wide wastewater collection system emergency repairs. Low bid, Allen and LeBlanc LLC, $3,298,685. Anyone here wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion approved by Councilman Hudson. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 124, annual parish-wide sewer repair and replacement, Allen and LeBlanc LLC, $2,545,374. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion approved by Councilman Hudson. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 125, Choctaw Drive Area ADA Transition Project. Low bid, the Luster Group LLC, $363,132.95. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hurst to approve. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to go back to condemnations. See your separate sheet for condemnations, for DPW recommendations. Okay, recommendations are to proceed with item number 60, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67, and to defer to the October 9th, 2024, item 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78, and to delete items 58, 59, and 61. Is anyone here wishing to speak on any of these items? Seeing none, we're going to go to council. We have a motion.
60 days on 60, 63, and 64.
60, 63, and 64. So we don't have a 60-day because this is coming off of a irregular time.
45.
So just a date. We would need, if you want 60 days, we could do October 9th or October 23rd meeting.
23rd is fine.
Actually, 60
would-
if you, yeah, you'd probably want November 13th or 26th.
13.
Okay. Those were 60, 63, and 64?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So motion is by Councilman Dunn Jr. is to proceed with item 62, 65, 66, 67, to defer to the October 9th meeting, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78, and to defer to the November 13th meetings, items 60, 63, and 64, and to delete items 58, 59, and 61. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Hurst. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, Ashley, I'm going to ask you to take item 79.
Item 79, adopting the following ad valorem tax millage rates within the boundaries of the following taxing jurisdictions on all taxable property to be levied during the year 2024 in order to adjust downward the 2024 millage rates as compared to the 2023 millage rates as required by Article 7, Section 23B of the Constitution of the State of Louisiana. East Baton Rouge Parish operating tax, 3.15 mils to 2.96 mils. City of Baton Rouge operating tax, 5.75 mils to 5.44 mils. City of Baton Rouge 3 platoon police tax from 0.87 mils to 0.82 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control District additional, 0.37 mils to 0.35 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Library from 10.52 mils to 9.89 mils. Downtown Development District, 10 mils to 9.50 mils. Council on Aging, 2.13 mils to 2.0 mils. Mental Health and Substance Abuse, 1.42 mils to 1.33 mils. Emergency Medical Services, 3.13 mils to 2.94 mils. Consolidated Road Lighting District Number 1, 1.85 mils to 1.71 mils. Baton Rouge Municipal Fire Salaries and Benefits, 6.0 mils to 5.68 mils. Fire Protection District Number 1, 9 mils to 8.52 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3, from 10 mils to 8.83 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional, 5 mils to 4.41 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional, from 10 mils to 8.83 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 from 10 mils to 9.09 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional, from 10 mils to 9.09 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional, from 10 mils to 9.09 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 from 10 mils to 8.97 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 additional, 15 mils to 13.45 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 from 10 mils to 9.82 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 additional, from 5 mils to 4.91 mils. By the Finance Director. This item requires a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on item 79? And council members, for the this is not the roll forward item. The next item is roll forward. Seeing none, go to council members.
We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Moak, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 80. Moak, Coleman. Coleman was second. Moak made the motion, sorry. Ashley, if you take item 80 for us.
This is going to be a public hearing on this item. There will be no vote after this public hearing. We are going to read the item a second time. That we will then have a public meeting and a motion can be made and a vote on the second time. But we're going to allow public comment twice on this item. Adopting the following increased ad valorem tax millage rates within the boundaries of the following taxing jurisdictions on all taxable property, and adopting all other ad valorem tax millage rates within the boundaries of the following taxing jurisdictions on all taxable property, except that the millage rate for the Downtown Development District shall be levied on real property only, to be levied during the year 2024 as permitted by Article 7, Section 23C of the Constitution of the State of Louisiana, and adopting all other millage rates for 2024. Adoption of increased ad valorem tax millage rates for 2024 roll forward. Emergency medical services from 2.94 mils to 3.13 mils. Council on Aging from 2 mils to 2.13 mils. Baton Rouge Municipal Fire Salaries and Benefits 5.68 mils to 6 mils. City of Baton Rouge 3 platoon police tax from 0.82 mils to 0.87 mils. Fire Protection District Number 1 from 8.52 mils to 9 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 from 8.83 mils to 10 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional from 4.41 mils to 5 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional from 8.83 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 from 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional from 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 from 8.97 mils to 10 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 additional from 13.45 mils to 15 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 from 9.82 mils to 10 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 additional from 4.91 mils to 5 mils. Adoption of all other ad valorem tax millage rates for 2024. East Baton Rouge Parish Operating Tax, 2.96 mils. City of Baton Rouge Operating Tax, 5.44 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control District, 1.06 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control District additional, 0.35 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Library, 9.89 mils. Downtown Development District, 9.5 mils. Mental Health and Substance Abuse, 1.33 mils. Consolidated Road Lighting District Number 1, 1.71 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3, additional 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7, additional 10 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9, additional 10 mils by the Finance Director and the various taxing districts. This item is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item?
Please say your name for the record.
Jake Morgan, citizen of Baton Rouge and president of the Baton Rouge Professional Firefighters Association. Our millage for the municipal fire salaries and benefits was originally passed by the citizens of Baton Rouge in 2000. This millage has been in place 6 mills. It's always rolled forward since the year 2000, 24 years in. This money is responsible for 24% of our salaries and benefits. It's dedicated for just that. It's not used for anything else, not for fire stations, not for fire trucks, anything like that. It's no secret that we're in search of higher pay here in the city of Baton Rouge for our firefighters. This could be a good opportunity for us to increase our special fund for our firefighters. I'm here just to ask for you guys to consider passing this roll forward for us.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Please state your name for the record.
Jason Turner, president for the St. George Firefighters, not a resident of Baton Rouge, but I do represent the members of St. George for our local. I do want to say we do support the roll forward for the Baton Rouge firemen and the fire departments all in general. I don't think I have to tell you what they do and what they go through, but we had no opposition to our roll forward last month. I'm asking the same thing here. Please pass theirs. We support it. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Please state your name for the record.
Penny Mae Landry. While I appreciate the slight decreases in the previous, let's see what it was, item 79, I'm against any millage increases, particularly right now when the citizens of East Baton Rouge are seeing increases from insurance, inflation, other millages increases like BREC and CATS and the school board. I totally support our firefighters. I have the most respect for them. So I agree with the increase in the fire salaries and benefits. I'd like these fire protection districts to look at budgeting for 2025, just like all of us are having to do in order to survive. So I agree with the salaries. The other thing is that the East Baton Rouge Parish operating tax and the City of Baton Rouge operating tax totals 8.4. Okay, that is just one of the expenses paid for by the taxpayers and the citizens of East Baton Rouge. And while it is a slight decrease, it's a washout for us because of the other increases, okay? So we don't get ahead, even though this went down a little bit. Everything went up. All these other millages went up way beyond these tiny little decreases. So I'm just imploring y'all to look into your hearts and know that many of your constituents are struggling. And I also asked the the fire protection districts to, say, yay, we got a raise and not increase the millages on the people and look better at doing a better job at budgeting. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item?
We're going to close the public hearing on this item. Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to this item. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public meeting on item 79. Adopting I'm sorry, on item 80, apologies. This is a public meeting on item 80. Adopting the following increased ad valorem tax millage rates within the boundaries of the following taxing jurisdictions on all taxable property, and adopting all other ad valorem tax millage rates within the boundaries of the following taxing jurisdictions on all taxable properties, except the millage rate for the downtown development district shall be levied on real property only, to be levied during the year 2024 as permitted by Article 7, Section 23C of the Constitution of the State of Louisiana, and adopting all other millage rates for 2024. Adoption of increased ad valorem tax millage rates for 2024 roll forward. Emergency medical services from 2.94 mils to 3.13 mils. Council on Aging, 2.0 mils to 2.13 mils. Baton Rouge municipal fire salaries and benefits from 5.68 mils to 6.0 mils. City of Baton Rouge, 3 platoon police tax from 0.82 mils to 0.87 mils. Fire Protection District Number 1 from 8.52 mils to 9 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 from 8.83 mils to 10 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional from 4.41 mils to 5 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional 8.83 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional 9.09 mils to 10 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 8.97 mils to 10 mils. Pride Fire Protection District Number 8 additional 13.45 mils to 15 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 9.82 mils to 10 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 additional 4.91 mils to 5 mils. Adoption of all other ad valorem tax millage rates for 2024. East Baton Rouge Parish operating tax 2.96 mils. City of Baton Rouge operating tax 5.44 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control District 1.06 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control District additional 0.35 mils. East Baton Rouge Parish Library 9.89 mils. Downtown Development District 9.50 mils. Mental Health and Substance Abuse 1.33 mils. Consolidated Road Lighting District Number 1 1.71 mils. Brownsfield Fire Protection District Number 3 additional 10.0 mils. Cheneyville Fire Protection District Number 7 additional 10.0 mils. Allison Fire Protection District Number 9 additional 10 mils by the Finance Director in various taxing districts. This is a public meeting on this item, if there's anyone in the public who'd like to speak.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Moak.
Thank you. Ashley, I'd like your help on this. With items 1 through 15, those would be increases versus items 16 through 26. Since those are basically new, voted on by the people, those are where they're at, not going up or down.
The items 1 through 16 represent a request for a roll forward, which means they are asking to levy the same millage or their maximum millage that they were allowed to levy in 2023. So they would collect more money after reassessment.
Okay.
Items 16 through 26 are the rolled back millage.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to accept the roll forward on items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is where I need your guidance on this. 16 through 26, do those get automatically included in, or do I?
You can approve those. You can have those in your motion to approve.
And those are not a roll forward?
They're not a roll forward.
Those are just starting because of a vote by the people?
They're existing taxes. They're just confirming that they're going to be levied at the rolled back.
At the rolled back
millage.
fate. Okay, that's my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion from Councilman Moak to approve the roll forward, a motion to approve the item with the roll forward for items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 through 26.
We have a second by Councilwoman Rocco.
I'd like to make an objection and make a substitute motion. And I'm gonna need your guidance as well, Ashley. So I'm gonna need your help with the language, whether it is roll forward, roll backwards. The intent of my motion is to approve all the items that are listed at the current amount being collected. So what is the proper motion or terminology to use to make that motion, and can I make it?
So, in item 79, that is what you approved. In item 79, y'all approved all of these taxing jurisdictions collecting the same amount of money that they collected this year. That's the rollback, takes into account increased property values and sets the millage at what the estimated collection being the same that it was for 2023.
Okay, so we done that already,
That's been
and no
done.
other additional action would need to be taken.
Correct. So on item 80, these taxing jurisdictions are requesting to basically keep their millage at the maximum level it was approved at in 2023, and that thus collecting more money based on increased property value.
I want to make sure I'm understanding you properly. So this item allows them an increase, all of them.
Item, the taxing districts listed in items 1 through 15 in this item would receive increased collections based on
So
rolling forward
16
their
through
millages.
26 wasn't in the previous item?
It might be helpful to get the finance department.
Okay. Finance, can you help me out? I just want to make sure, because if I'm understanding you correctly, it sounds like we approved all of them at the current rate, and there's no need for number 80 unless we want to increase on somebody. Am I correct? Can you help me out?
That's correct. We're just following procedure for it. So, Ashley?
If you do not approve item 80, all of the millages that you levied in item
Okay.
79 will stand, which was a rollback.
And this is looking at all of them again and picking the ones that you want to roll forward.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm going to make based on that understanding, I'm glad all of them have what they had last year. My substitute motion is going to be rolled forward, all of them.
Okay, so your motion would be to approve item 80.
Yes, as written.
Okay. Approved by motion.
Okay. It didn't go.
Let me make sure you got it. I want the increase for everybody who requested it. That's my motion. All right. We good? 1 through 15. The others didn't request it. You want to read it just so everybody is clear, Ashley, please?
It's just a motion to approve item 80.
Yeah, I know, but I want to make sure that everybody understands what action takes place once we
Okay.
approve it.
If item 80 is approved, the taxing jurisdictions listed in 1 through 15 will levy their ad valorem tax at the higher millage rate, at the maximum that they were allowed last year, instead of the rolled back rate. That indicates that they will receive more money through property tax collections in 2024 than more money than they collected in 2023.
All right, I'm good.
Councilwoman Banks.
So in 79, we were mostly reducing the tax.
You're reducing the millage rate?
Yes.
You will collect the same amount of money.
In 79?
Yes, each jurisdiction will collect, we're estimating that they will collect the same amount of money, but rolling the millage rate back.
So when it says 3.15 for the 2023 levy, but then it says adopted 2024, 2.96.
Right.
So how could it be the same?
Because this is a reassessment year, you probably got a notice in the mail from the assessor's office that explained whether your property value went up or down. Generally, in East Baton Rouge Parish, property values went up. So if y'all kept all of these millage rates at the same amount of money, property taxpayers would be paying more money in property taxes, keeping that millage the same because your property value has increased.
Because the value went up.
So
Got you.
taking all of that into account, these taxing jurisdictions are requesting to roll it back so that they collect the same amount of money that they collected in 2023.
Okay. But then in 80, it sounds like an increase.
In 80, they will collect more money in 2024 than they did in 2023.
An increase. So how do we get it where they just collect the same?
You did that in item 79.
Oh, so why are we?
They're allowed to, in a reassessment year, taxing jurisdictions are allowed to request to roll their millage forward.
May we approach the bar? No. Can I ask him something? I need to have a discussion. So, Councilman Dunn, so you're thinking give them all a raise, essentially. Is that correct?
Well, I wanted to clear things up. As Ashley mentioned, and my understanding is, by law, we was required to do 79, which rolls it back.
Right.
If we do 80, it basically returns it back to the original state. So it is not an increase. Am I correct, Ashley?
I'm sorry.
It's not an increase of the millage.
Correct.
It's an increase, but it's not an increase of the millage.
The collections are an increase, not the millage rate.
The millage is not an increase of the millage, the only way it's an increase because the property value went up.
Correct.
So we're not increasing the millage.
Got you. So now what are we doing? All right. Thank you.
You good, Sean? Okay. Councilman Goday.
Thank you. Sorry, I thought we were having technicalities there. Well, I want because there's a discussion about whether to roll forward or not, I would like the entities named in 1 through 15 to come up and provide information as to why a roll forward is requested. So EMS. All right, let's do Council on Aging.
Here's why it's important for us to roll forward. First and foremost, you rolled this back right during the pandemic. We were approved for 2.25 meals. You rolled us back to 2.13 where we currently are. If you roll us again to 2.0, when it's time, we have a couple of years left in our millage. When it's time to rerun, we're going to rerun at a lower amount. That's first. Secondly, we have become the second largest council on aging in the state. Last year alone, the state of Louisiana, all councils on aging, we did about 6 million meals. Of the 6 million meals in 1 year, this council on aging did 22% of all the meals, which is about 1.3 million. This year alone, we're already at 1.4 million meals. Our issue is we just came to you all some months ago and you gave us $560,000 in ARP funds. Our issue is we have more demand now than ever before, and we do not want to tell your constituents, no, we can't serve you. Part of our problem is we grew from 8 senior centers and feeding sites to currently 20 and 2 more on the way. We do 69,000 meals a month for homebound seniors, which is about $5 million of the $10 million that you try to keep us at. So all of the money is going into services. And so when I tell a senior in your area, no, we can't serve you because I have too many, then they call you and you call me, and I said, well, we're going to make it happen. And so we came and we got 560. The 750 that'll be extra would really be the whole that we need to be able to keep these seniors on the program. Because if not, I got to go back and turn about 1,500 away or so.
Ms. Amar, forgive me, I
Sure.
realize I'm on a clock here. Thank
Sure.
you for that. Did your board vote to roll forward the millage?
Yes.
Thank you very much. How about Brownsville Fire Protection District 3?
That's it. Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, yes, I'm going to try to get to all the entities. Thank you very much, Ms. Amar. Brownsville. Hey, Chief.
Thank you. Carol Campbell, the fire chief at Brownsville. One of the big reasons that we want to try to roll this forward is manpower. Rating is coming up. It takes manpower for rating. Not only that, equipment, fuel is up. PPEs, the personal protection equipment that we use, turnouts and stuff, out of the ceiling. Buy a fire truck today. See what that costs, You're looking at something close to $1 million. And so many of these things, but we do need it for supplies, medical supplies, and this type of stuff. Salaries is a big factor. Our contract people, we have a lot of contract people, and we have to maintain that. So, any questions, I'll be glad to.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Cheneyville. And Pride and Allison can come forward. Fire Protection District number 1. I don't know if I skipped them. We heard from Jake from the Municipal Fire 3 platoon tax, I guess, would be represented by our Finance Department. You must justify the roll forward.
For the roll forward, that will help fund, or goes towards police salaries.
Police salaries, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Councilman Hurst.
Hey, Tasha, can you come to the mic? So, and I don't know the full details. I just remember the discussion about the 500,000, how it was originally budgeted, but then it was pulled back. And so we supplemented to make sure that our senior population didn't suffer.
Right.
Can you explain that, please?
So when we were last here, the mayor afforded us an opportunity to get $560,000 of our ARP dollars to solely serve seniors in all over the parish and for Meals on Wheels, because we've had a steady influx of seniors. Because what we are learning, not just here but everywhere, seniors are living longer, but they're not aging well. They're not as healthy as they should be when they start to decline. And so we have quite a few seniors that get Meals on Wheels delivered to their home. They're homebound seniors that are ill or suffering with some health complications. And so afforded us the opportunity to have this money through December.
So, and one thing I always say is tangible results are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody can deny that you guys have put up a lot of brick and mortar that directly serves our senior population. So anybody up here that says they don't know where your money's going, then you come take a tour of your facility or facilities.
Sure.
Right, and the impact that it's making.
Right.
But my question is, with the growth and the deficit that you ran this year, what would that look like moving forward if we weren't able to put these millage in place?
It's going to be difficult. I'm going to put some seniors on homebound programs on waiting lists, and I'm going to have to reduce some of my seniors at senior centers. As you know, you have Central and Antioch are my largest senior centers in the parish, with nearly 150, 250 people daily, eating, doing exercise, all kind of things. So I'm going to have to turn some people away.
And so I say that only because people who are, we always talk about, we wish every councilman had a community center. And at some point, I hope we get there.
Yeah.
But Brandon can tell you from Cheneyville, and, this is not a Republican, a Democrat, or white or black, or rich or poor. This is if you either had the experience or didn't. And I found out the day I was asking for supplemental monies to provide access to homeless people on Plank Road or people with food insecurities. And how we were building a program, and just that Brandon had some similar issues with older buildings, lack of resources, and how he made those improvements.
Right.
So I can talk to Ms. Darazan, who is newer, but she comes to the Charles R. Kelly Center with Ms. Joyce,
That's
who
right.
works for Cleve Dunn, Tawana, who's over at the MLK Center on a regular basis and serving that district, Councilwoman Coleman, who's at the Leo Butler Center, serving her district,
Right.
Councilwoman Banks, who's at Jewel Newman. I only say this because if you don't have that lived experience, you don't realize the impact that they're making. They're taking people out of depression.
Right.
They are reducing mental issues, physical ailments that come from being stuck in your house all day. And we had this conversation the other day. I'm going to bring up a conversation we had the other day. So I called Tasha, and I said, Tasha, we got all this waste left over from this food. She was like, well, they can take it home with them.
Right.
And one of the reasons we had that discussion is because there was some confusion just with the center director of if the food could leave the building, but it was only for people who were under the age of 60 that did not qualify, that the food couldn't leave the building. And you have some seniors, I want to stop trying to say a politically correct, that come and tell and say they got 2 plates, or they got 3 plates, or they got 4 plates. And my response to that was, you don't know what's in their cupboards at home.
That's right.
You don't know what's in their refrigerator. You don't know what's in their bank account. So if they wanted 3 plates, I'm okay with them because somebody's going to eat that food.
Most definitely.
They wanted an extra drink, somebody's going to eat that food. So not only are they providing the mental health, physical resources, the day-to-day activities that's keeping these people alive and well, they're also closing the gap on insecurities when they leave there. So I'm only saying this because I saw that you were excluded in the original motion.
Yeah.
And for that reason, my motion will be to approve all or approve none.
And Councilman Hurst, just for the
And you
record.
can have my next 5 minutes.
We have been nationally recognized all over the country for our work that we have done. The New York Times, NPR, all over the country, except for home. And so we're working on that so that you all will come into the facilities and see what we do. See for yourself how we're breaking social isolation and teaching seniors how not to fall, which is the #1 killer of seniors across the country is falls. And so we have a class called Matter of Balance and some other things. And so, thank you.
So look, I'm gonna make a suggestion for you.
Yes, sir.
We've been trying to get.
I invited them a lot of times.
No, listen. We've been trying to get them a cats bus for a long time, right?
Right.
And we haven't done cats. Why don't we make it an all-in-one trip where we get on the bus and visit the community center through partnership with cats?
I could pick you up on.
That'll be a dual 2-in-1, so we don't have to set up multiple trips.
I could pick you guys up on our buses. We have 20 of them.
Stick with cats.
All right. All right.
But I would recommend that y'all put that together, and I would love to attend as well.
Sure.
Councilwoman Amorosa.
Just asking a basic question now that there's a lot of, I'm still a little confused. I just want to know what kind of impact are these rolling forwards going to be on our constituents' pockets? If anybody can, I mean, is it going to be a huge impact? Is it just going to be a matter of cents? You know, because we do have people out there that are struggling. So that, I know that's a very basic question, a very elementary question. But rolling forward, how are our constituents' pocketbooks going to be impacted?
The big answer to that is that it depends on where they live, exactly, and which millages are rolled forward where they live. Are they in Baker, Zachary, Baton Rouge, St. George, unincorporated areas, what have you. But in general, if, let's see, for the fire tax, for example, on a $200,000 home, it would be $6.40 increase. I'm sorry, yeah, $6.40 increase on a $200,000 home per year. So $6 a year.
And that's just one being rolled forward.
And that's one annually. EMS on $200,000 would be $2.38. So it depends on where they live, the value of their home. There's a lot of factors to that, so it's a very loaded question.
Right, I understand that. I do understand that, but I mean, there are people that are concerned, and You know, our homes are, it may be a small home, but it's still very expensive these days, you know, that people are trying to do everything they can do to keep body and soul together. So anyway, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Could you come back up, please? I know you only mentioned two, one being $6, one being $2. Are there any on your list that's higher than a $6 increase? Or is the average between $2 and $6?
It depends. Because the amount of each one being rolled forward is a bit different, but let's see. And again, that was on $200,000.
I got you.
Obviously, it would be different for 300 or
Right.
400 or et cetera.
We need a baseline just to have an idea, though.
So for 200,000, Fire District 1 would be at $6. And that's a 0.48 mil increase. Brownsfield is a combination. They have 3 that are being rolled forward. And in total, that's $36.63 for the 3 of them combined.
Okay.
And Pride and District 7 are similar in that range because they have multiple millages.
So it could be equivalent, $36, $40, something like that.
Yeah, they're $36.63 for Brownsfield, $32.25 for Pride, and $34.13 for Cheneyville.
Gotcha.
So they're all in the $30 range. But again, there's multiple millages.
Yeah. So would it be safe to say the roll forward was on 15, somewhere in $200 to $300 a year, depending on where you live? Something like that?
Depends on where they live.
I don't
And
wanna-
if there's a roll forward, so if we're not rolling forward the tax, for example, for the parish or the city, then those citizens wouldn't have to pay those. But maybe if, and I don't know if Baker or Zachary are, but if Baker or Zachary roll forward, then those citizens would have that. Whereas
Gotcha.
the citizens in Baton Rouge or the unincorporated areas would not.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Councilwoman Amorosa, for the question, because it kind of gives us somewhat of an idea, even though it's not an exact science of what the impact is on the citizen. Thank you for that question. I thought Councilman Gaudet asked a good question too, the request of the individuals asking to roll forward to kind of justify it. Very interesting to me that we only have 1 or 2 present that are willing to be here and participate in this process and have the information before us today to let us know what their justification is. One being the Council on Aging. And thought Councilman Hurst made a lot of good points. Most of us know the impact that the Council on Aging is making. He made the point about the community centers. I'm one of the districts that don't have a community center yet. We're working on that. However, and Tasha will tell you this, all of us have senior centers in our districts. So even though we don't have community centers, we know the impact. And Councilman Hudson's district is the most recent district to receive a senior center, and realize the impacts that the Council on Aging is making. So we see the brick and mortar, as Councilman Hurst mentioned. We see and feel and hear the impact from the residents and the service that the Council on Aging is bringing. We know they're doing the work. We know that this work and these resources are getting to the people. So let's cut the games out and roll these millages forward. I'm going to go back to the opening prayer by the pastor. I forget his name. I jotted this down when he said that because I kind of thought this would resonate and have some substance and meaning to this meeting. He said 2 things that stuck out to me. He asked us to guide our words and guide our motives. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to guide your words, which I think we've done a good job of that. But now I'm going to ask you to guide your motives because the Council on Aging deserves to be rolled forward. Thank you.
Councilman Hurst, you already spoke twice.
Jen, can I have a little bit of your time?
So we're going to go to me.
Did I really speak twice already?
You did. In fact, I didn't even have to warn you. You accepted it before it got to it. Your second 5 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
You did. Okay. So I actually agree with a lot of what was said on the justifications behind these. I really do. Cheneyville Community Center, y'all are there feeding people every day, and I appreciate it. And our first responders, the good work y'all do is absolutely noticed and recognized. And I've had discussions with you all plenty of times. I think I'll just give some perspective on how I view this. You know, you're talking about taxes that were passed on an amount to that was needed when it was passed. These are the dollars that are going to be received. And so item 79 was there because that corrects for the reassessment to receive those same dollars that were passed when the tax was passed by the people. And so when you're looking at the roll forward, it's going back to the millages that were approved at that time with the higher amounts. You hear lately on a national news level people talking about taxing unrealized gains, which, side note, I think would put us directly into a depression. That's a terrible idea. But this is in a small way a very similar thing. You're talking about you have realized through your assessment an increase in your property value, and you're going to be taxed more on it because of that increase. What that rollback does is it gives you some relief from that. So your quote unquote balance sheet, you know, your personal financial statement looks greater because you have a more valuable asset in your home or on your property. But that doesn't put more dollars in your pocket. That doesn't give you liquidity. And when you talk about being taxed more on that, you know, unless you got a raise, you don't have a roll forward in your salary. And so that's kind of how I view this. Again, I see the justifications, but I do see this as a tax increase. And I think it's in its most simplified form, that is what this is. It is asking for more from something that when the people didn't necessarily get an increase in their bank accounts for it. We know the woes that are being seen with insurance in our state are plentiful. That's affecting everyone. No one's immune to it. I think we are starting to see it, and it's only going to get a little bit worse, I think. With insurance, you're seeing people, if they're not already on the brink of being forced out of their homes in some situations because of insurance. And so I would caution on us using or exacerbating that through the taxes, which are usually, most people escrow it on their primary residence. So again, I recognize the justifications for them. I believe everything. And in some ways in this seat, we have supported you bringing an extra tax to the people and making your case to them. And I believe in that. When you have a justification and you think you can go to the people and ask for a millage, I'm willing to give you that to bring to them if I believe in the justification you're saying. So, but on a roll forward, again, from my perspective, it does look like a tax increase on the people. Councilman Hudson.
Well, I wasn't going to speak on this item until Councilman Dunn Jr. used my own pastor's prayer against me. No, look, I appreciate what everyone has said. I too look at it as a tax increase, and I look at it from the perspective of what all of our constituents view this as, and that is at the end of the day, they're going to have to shell out some more money to get the same services that they're already getting. I have not heard anyone come and tell me that not rolling these millages forward will cause them to directly impact their benefits to their employees, directly impact their pay or their other benefits. And so, look, I just think just like our constituents have to do more with less, we're actually asking these entities to do more with the same, right? So you're in a little bit better position there. So I'm in favor, and I know we already have two motions on the floor, but I'm in favor of simply accepting the 2024 adjusted millage after reassessment. So that's what I'll be hopefully getting to support this evening.
Councilman Hurst, you have still spoken twice.
And I have gotten a commitment to use Jen Rocca's first 5
Well, Jen Rocca will have to ask you a question with her time for that. So, Councilwoman Rocca.
Can you use my time in 30 seconds or less?
So, Dwight Hudson made a great point that we are talking about doing more with less. What that actually means is less due to inflation, not less income. People's salaries aren't changing. It's no different than the budgets in these businesses, but they're expected to do the same thing. One thing I love about public service is being on this side of the aisle, because you realize they only put you in office to build you up, to tell you right back down, to tell you what you're not doing. The same thing with these firemen, same thing with the Council on Aging, same thing with Fred Rayford with drainage, while he's smiling over there, same thing with all of them. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to call us next year and complain about the services that we're not providing for the city. You're going to tell us, have fiscal responsibility, do more with less, but we're already paying DPW $8 an hour in some cases. That's not a livable wage, okay? And I'm going to give you an example about that. Right now, as we reduce some of our budgets, DPW's building and grounds who need some of that overtime that they get now can't get it, so they now have to go get another job because their current job does not provide a livable wage, only because they can't get overtime with the current fiscal state. So we're asking these other folks to operate on tomorrow's fiscal state with today's current budget. So the bottom line is that doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work for us personally. It doesn't work for them business-wise. So the increases, not just here but in other places, don't call and complain when they can't give you next year what they gave you this year. Thank you so much. You want to come to the mic? I do. You got the rest of her time, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Hurst. Mr. Chair, is that acceptable?
Councilwoman Rocca.
Sir, you can have my extra time.
Thank you very much. My name is Murphy Foster. I represent the Council on Aging. I just want to add a couple of things to what Councilman Hurst and some of the others had said and what Tasha has said. 7 years ago, when this millage was passed, it was 2.25. Last year was 2.13. One of the proposals, or the automatic rollback, would have been 2.0. If you keep it at 2.0, that is going to be $750,000 less to the Council on Aging in real dollars. And the reason is because Council on Aging, like some of these other agencies, get money from other sources. Council on Aging this next year will get $750,000 less from the federal government and the state government. I can't tell you why they cut those, but they did. If you keep it at the 2.13, they will have the same that they had last year in real dollars, and the millage would be the same, 2.13. I support holding it at 2.13 and urge you to do so. If there's one thing that we as government, or you as government, should do, is to care for people who cannot care for themselves. That's what the Council on Aging does in a big way, and they have received huge accolades from around the country for doing just that. Thank you.
All right. So, to clarify, we have a substitute motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., seconded by Councilwoman Banks, to approve all roll forward and the rest of the items for item 80. Do we have any opposition to that?
Can I get clarification?
Sure.
The substitute motion you just referenced is to approve item 80 as is written, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
We have objection? Multiple objections. We're going to vote on the machines for the
Councilmembers-
substitute motion first.
Just as a reminder, this item requires 8 votes to be approved. Either way, we're voting on the substitute motion to approve item 80 as it appears on your agenda. Machines are open on the motion to approve. You want to do this? Yes. I'm going to reset it when Councilwoman Danzig's computer's ready. Okay. Machines are open on the substitute motion to approve item 80. Motion fails.
Now we're going to vote on the original motion by Councilman Moak, seconded by Councilwoman Rocca, to approve all items, item 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 for the roll forward, and adopting items 16 through 26 as written. Do we have any objection? Have objection? Multiple, we're going to vote on the machines.
Machines are open on the original motion to approve items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 through 26.
We already did.
You did. Reset. Yes. We're gonna open the machines again for that vote. I'm not gonna read the entire thing again. Machines are open on the original motion from Councilman Moak. Motion fails.
Can I reconsider the substitute motion?
You can re-urge your motion.
I'd like to re-urge my motion.
There's a motion on the floor to approve item 80 by Councilman Dunn. Is there a second?
We have a motion by
Yes, Councilman Hurst.
Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hurst to approve item 80 as written. Do we have any opposition? We have opposition. We're going to vote on the machines.
Machines are open on the motion to approve item 80. Motion fails. We can move on.
All right. Item 81, authorizing the appropriation of not to exceed $183,415,000. I'm sorry, y'all. We need to jump to item 106. We're going to take 106 through 111. 106, certifying the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development that the City of Baton Rouge and the Parish of East Baton Rouge agrees to certain stipulations required by LADOTD as prerequisites for participation by the City of Baton Rouge and the Parish of East Baton Rouge in the off-system bridge replacement program by Transportation and Drainage Director. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we're going to go to council. We have a motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 107, authorizing Mayor President to execute a contract with All South Consulting Engineers, LLC to provide engineering design services for the construction of the Robertson Avenue sidewalks, Hollywood Street to Denham Street, in the amount not to exceed $179,879.89 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed?
Apologies, council members. I'm sorry. Should have had one email comment in opposition to item 107.
Motion 108 carries. Item 109, authorizing the Mayor President to execute a contract with Evans Graves Engineers, Inc. to provide engineering design services for the construction of the Cora Drive sidewalk improvements, Goodwood Boulevard to Florida Boulevard, in an amount not to exceed $264,171.75 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 110, authorizing Mayor President to execute an agreement with Jamestown Mitigation Bank, LLC to meet the requirements of wetland mitigation associated with the EBR Enhancement Project, McCoast Road, in an amount not to exceed $98,670 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by chair, second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. I did, no. I was on 108 when you referenced 107. My apologies. 108, authorizing Mayor President to execute a contract with Baton Associates to provide engineering design services for the construction of the Rosenwald sidewalk, scenic highway to Skyland Avenue, in amount not to exceed $192,491.62 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's okay. I read the same one twice, I guess. Okay, item 81. Authorizing the appropriation of not to exceed $183,415,058.30 of bond proceeds and other funds from sewer system to refund the 2020B sewer revenue bonds by Director of Environmental Services and Finance Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? 81. Seeing none, we're going to go to council. We have a motion. Motion to approve by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 82, a supplemental resolution supplementing amended and restated general bond resolution number 57934, providing for the execution and delivery of the loan agreement dated as of September 1st, 2024, by and between the East Baton Rouge Sewerage Commission and the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority, providing for the loan payment obligations of the East Baton Rouge Sewage Commission under said loan agreement and providing for other matters in connection therewith by bond counsel. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilman Hurst. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 83, amending the 2024 annual operating budget for the Cheneyville Fire Protection District so as to appropriate $50,000 from the collection of 2024 property taxes for the purpose of providing funding for the payroll, benefits, medical supplies, and necessary repairs and maintenance associated with the station and equipment by Cheneyville Fire Protection District number 7. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion by the chair. We have a second. Second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 84, rescinding and directing the clerk of court to cancel the decision and order recorded on February 11th, 2022 in the matter of City of Baton Rouge versus Premi Moore and Federico Marquez Covarrubias, 4162 Odell Street. Reason for rescission, the owner is selling the property by Councilwoman Darazan. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Darazan, second by Councilwoman Adams. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 85, rescinding and directing the clerk of court to cancel the notice to attend recorded on February 28, 2024, and decision and order recorded on July 1st, 2024 in the matter of City of Baton Rouge versus Deborah Walker, Celestine Walker Irving, 1104 North 39th Street. Reason, new owner plans to renovate the property and place it back into commerce by Councilwoman Darazan. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion by Councilwoman Darazan, second by Councilwoman Adams. Motion carries. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 86, rescinding and directing the clerk of court to cancel multiple notices to attend recorded on May 31st, 2024, and decision and order recorded on July 1st, 2024 in the matter of City of Baton Rouge versus Gerald John Charley Jr., Susan Schifficky Charley. Reason for rescission is the property owner intends to sell the property by Councilman Hurst. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Hurst, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 87, rescinding and directing the clerk of court to cancel multiple notice to attend recorded on November 30th, 2023, and the decision and order recorded on March 4th, 2024, in the matter of City of Baton Rouge and Diana Callahan, 3252 Brady Street. Reason for rescission, property owners selling the property by Councilwoman Darazan. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilwoman Darazan, motion. Second. Councilwoman Adams, any opposed? Motion carries. Item 88, authorizing the Metropolitan Council to declare Lot 2, Block 208, Estruma Subdivision, Municipal Address 3880, Pocasset Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70805 as surplus property and not needed for a public purpose, and authorizing the sale of the same pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 334712 at sec unto Wilford Jackson for the sum of $22,000 by parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. Second by the chair. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to take items 89 through 92 together. Authorizing the parish attorney's office to institute expropriation proceedings and/or to take such other actions as may be required in connection with the acquisition of land necessary for the Move BR Enhancement Project, Florida Boulevard Segment 2 Corridor Enhancement, 22nd Street to Airline by the parish attorney. Item 90, authorizing the parish attorney's office to institute expropriation proceedings and/or to take other actions that may be required in connection with the acquisition of land and necessary for the Move BR Enhancement Project, North Boulevard Enhancements, I-10 to Foster/Florida by parish attorney, authorizing the parish attorney's office to institute expropriation proceedings and/or take other such actions as may be required in connection with the acquisition of land necessary for the Move BR Enhancement Project, synchronization and communication signal rebuild phase 1 by the parish attorney, authorizing the parish attorney's office to institute expropriation proceedings and/or to take other actions as may be required in connection with the acquisition of land necessary for the Move BR Enhancement Project, synchronization and communication signal rebuild phase 2 by the parish attorney. Is anyone here wishing to speak on these items, 89 through 92? Seeing none.
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 89.
We'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. For items 89 through 92. Item 93, authorizing the finance director to refund an erroneous sales tax remittance to Interventional Pain Management Center in the amount of $125,699.70 for remitting sales tax on non-taxable medical devices used on Medicare-insured patients for the audit period of January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2019 by finance director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Goday, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 94, authorizing the mayor, president, and/or chairman of the airport commission to execute an amendment to lease with Rocco Rescue, Inc. to extend the 1.85-acre land lease for an additional 10 years commencing September 7th, 2024, based on their investment of $125,000 worth of improvements to the property by aviation director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Goday, second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 95, authorization for the mayor, president, and/or chairman of the airport commission to execute a professional services contract with Infrastructure Consulting and Engineering, PLLC, to provide taxi lane widening design, bidding, and construction phase services at the BTR Metropolitan Airport in the amount not to exceed $91,759.18 by aviation director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 96, authorizing settlement in the claim of Lisa Pitcher for damages resulting from a sewer backup in claimant's home for a total amount of $25,147.67 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 97, authorizing settlement of the claim of Trinity Lopez for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by a Baton Rouge police officer in the amount of $12,536.90 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. 98, authorizing settlement in the claim of Willie Turner for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by a Baton Rouge police officer in the amount of $55,000 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 99, authorizing mayor president through the city of Baton Rouge, parish of East Baton Rouge, local workforce development area 21, employ BR, to enter into a professional services agreement with Carasoft Technology Corp. in the amount of $54,720 for the period of October 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025 by Workforce Investment Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilwoman Adams.
Is anyone from Employee BR here, please?
Mayor's office, maybe?
Anybody? is somebody here with employee BR? I want to better understand. Yes, yeah. Yeah, just trying to understand these two items and what employee BR is working towards.
It would be Amanda Stanley. I can call her for you and come back if you want to do that.
Is she? You think she's in the? You think she's left?
Her office is off-site, but I can call her and see if we can get some answers to you offline if you want to do that and come back to this. Or
that would be good. Thank you.
Is that okay? All right.
Are we close to the end, aren't we, though? We're almost done.
Okay, we'll move on, come back to the item. I'd imagine for 99 and 100, you'd want to talk to, okay. All right, item 101, authorizing city constable to enter into an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff for a sub-grant in the amount of $5,125 through the Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement from Bryan Justice Assistant Grant Program for the EBR Joint Warrant Task Force by the constable. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Coleman. Second by the chair. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 102, authorizing Mayor President to accept an amendment on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Office of Social Services with the Louisiana Workforce Commission Community Services Block Grant, increasing discretionary funds in the amount of $40,000 for the Ride to Work project for a total of $1,466,330 by Human Services Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hudson. We have a second. Second by the chair. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
A Ride to Work project. I need to hear about that.
Hello all. This is a pilot program with the Louisiana Workforce Commission and the Louisiana Parole Project to help parolees get to and from work. Right now, what they're having to do is get everybody there on a van, which is causing parolees to be late for work. So this is just a pilot to offer an alternative way rather than having to put everybody on a van to get everybody to work so that they can maintain employment.
So how will they be getting to work as opposed to that van?
Two things. We're going to be buying e-bikes, and we will also be having Uber rides for inclement weather, but we are purchasing 5 e-bikes that the department will be using over and over again.
Councilman Hudson.
Tell me a little bit more about the program. I know we're not spending $1 million for 5 e-bikes.
It's $40,000.
Right, but the total program.
That's our total budget from CSBG. That includes everything that we do within the Division of Human Development Services. This pilot program is only $40,000.
I see. Okay. Explain to me the breakdown between e-bikes and Uber. Are we only using Uber during inclement weather?
We're going to use e-bikes every day, and we also make provisions for them to have rain gear when the weather's not so bad, but they can use raincoats and boots. We'll have that. But when the weather is really, really bad and they can't use the e-bikes, we will have an alternative means in order for them to get to work. So the whole goal is so that we can get them to work without having to put everybody on one van. Because if everybody has to be to work at 8 o'clock, you can't be in 10 different directions trying to get everybody to work. So this is just an alternative way so that we can ensure that they maintain employment.
Okay. If we figure out that nobody wants to use the e-bikes and they just want to use Uber, can they still use Uber?
That's not an option.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Moak.
Okay. We're going to purchase 5 e-bikes. And where will those be stationed at?
The Louisiana Parole Project. We're doing this in collaboration with the Louisiana Workforce Commission, with us as a community action agency, and with the Louisiana Parole Project. The bikes will remain in the custody possession of the Louisiana Parole Project.
So they'll remain at a certain location, or they'll take them home?
Not the parole, they're gonna stay on site with the Louisiana Parole Project. They will not go home with the parolees.
Okay. Where's this facility located?
I don't know, this is a pilot project, this is the Louisiana Parole Project with Louisiana Workforce Commission. All they're asking us to do as a community action agency is to join in the collaboration to see if we can make this work, if this is something that we need to do on a larger scale. So it's just a test, it's just a pilot to see if this will work.
So would it be this office location downtown?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not some outside area where they're having to get on
no, sir.
major streets.
And the Louisiana Parole Project is responsible for all the insurance that goes along with that, the maintenance of the bikes and all that's going to be covered in the package, the Perkinson package, but all that falls on the Louisiana Parole Project, not us at all.
Do we still have the bike program? Okay, everybody's gone. We do still have the bike program here. Why can't we just use those?
It was presented to me as a pilot project from Louisiana Workforce Commission. They just asked that we join in on this. I don't know that they consider, the existing bike that we already have in service or not. This was strictly just for 5 parolees so that we could test to see if this is something that we can use ongoing so that we can keep them employed by getting to work on time.
I'm all for keeping them employed. I'm all for getting them to work, getting them home from work to where they back to wherever they need to be and stuff. This just sounds like and look, it's $40,000 that's being given to you, obviously from the state.
Mm-hmm.
But you're giving them rain gear, a bike. They go back and forth. They take their bike out. It's storming because you said it's, the rain gear's for basic light rain.
Right.
It's storming in the evening. They leave the bike. They get an Uber and go back at that point and then go pick up the bike the next. This just sounds like, I don't know where it could go. It seems like we have resources that are already available that could be done with this. I want to help them. I want to keep them employed. I've historically voted for stuff that helps our convicted community get back into the workforce and things like that. But this just sounds like it's going to just be a problem after a problem. And I get it. You're wanting to accept it because it's being offered to you. Why not? Hey, it's $40,000. Go give this a try. But it seems like something that, let's say it kind of does work for a little bit because it's new and then it just fizzes out. Then at that point, the next year, the $40,000 or $50,000 or whatever it costs for the rain gear and the bikes and stuff, and we don't get a grant to continue, then we're stuck with this new program, correct?
Well, no, sir. We're not going to be stuck with it. These are discretionary funds. So this is above and beyond our allocation that we get from CSBG for these services. But it's during this period that we can capture the data to see if this is going to work or not. So it's not about just giving them a e-bike and say, get to work. That's capture the data to see if this even worth it, if it even makes sense. It's just a pilot, and these are discretionary funds above our normal allocation that we get. We're just trying to test it out to see if this is going to work. Will this help us ensure that they can get to work on a regular basis without having to worry about trying to get, 15 different parolees at one site, different sites at the same time? It's just a test.
Okay, did they come to us with this program?
They came to us
or did
with
we
this program.
research it in other places?
No, sir, they came to us with this.
Okay. Have we done our research or due diligence as far as this type of program working in other locations?
I can't answer that, sir. I can get that answer for you, but I don't have that answer.
Okay. I mean, I would say that, I get it, we're accepting the money, but we should do our research to see what this has done in other locations, similar sized cities. It's something that this council's asked for other things and so on.
Councilman Mosley, Jeff Stein.
Yeah, so I guess if anybody else can answer that, you're wanting to speak really bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear your concerns, Councilman Moak. My only concern is because it is discretionary funds, we have a time limit of 9:30 to either accept it or not.
And here we're back to the immediate acceptance being put before us. The $40,000 has to be used on e-bikes.
It has to be used for this project, Ride to Work project.
Ride to Work project.
Right.
If we said we're going to take the $40,000 and only do Uber, can we?
No, that's not what we want to do.
So this is an e-bike project.
Right.
With the Uber as a backup.
Only for extreme inclement weather.
Extreme inclement weather.
That's why we're buying the raincoats and the rain pants and the bags so they can bring their lunch. They'll have all of that. They will only use the Uber for extreme weather only.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Hurst.
Yeah, so Jen said it in my ear over here what I was going to say. It's only a grant, number one. You did. Number two is that, number two is that it's a beta project, right? So when you talk about a beta project, that justifies your ability to go out and ask for more grant money with proof of concept. So I'm okay with it. And number three, when we talked about the bike, what I thought about while you were talking, I thought it was a good idea though, Aaron. But the difference in an e-bike and a traditional bike is pedals versus going long distances. I know, but these kind of work on their own and go long distances, absolutely. So it's no different than an electric scooter versus when you got to kick with your foot. How far do you want to go on a scooter that you got to kick from downtown to North Baton Rouge versus on an e-bike or something else that's motorized? So I definitely support it. I believe getting people back into the workforce is the key to transitioning every area of town that we live in, because people with money typically don't rob, steal, and kill. So I ask that we support this, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you. I think it goes without saying that Jen is not going to get Darryl any more of her time. But back to the matter at hand, I think the point has been made that, the funding source, these are discretionary funds, it's coming from the state, these are grant dollars, things of that nature. But the point I want to make is the population in which you're serving, people re-entering to society from being incarcerated. There are a lot of barriers in place, some self-inflicted, some system-inflicted on this population. So anything we can do to assist and aid to keep the population in the workforce and not, being put in a position to be tempted to return to past activities that would return them back to being incarcerated is something I'm in support of. Also, as was mentioned before, this is a pilot program. It's experimental to gain data and information to see if this works. If it don't work, we won't continue it. We won't expand it. If it do, we will expand it and seek funds to do that. I think whether it's a business or whether it's government, we have to give leaders the autonomy to innovate and try things and, look at different options. Councilman Moak is right. We do oftentimes look at other municipalities, look at other organizations and see if they've tried things. But sometimes it's okay to be the first or the second to try it. And some other municipality, some other city or organization, look at your data and see, if it works. So is it great? Probably not. Is it a good thing? I think so. So we don't need to let good be the enemy of great. I think this is something that we should explore and something we should move forward with. And so as Councilman Hurst said, I support it and look forward to the vote. If a motion hadn't been made, I'll make one to approve as is.
Councilwoman Adams, I'm assuming you want to ask if the e-bikes can go through drive-throughs.
They absolutely can go through
I have
drive-throughs, and they
balloons
should go through
attached to 'em.
drive-throughs. Let's bring that item back. Good grief. I always get roasted. Okay, so I think, for me, this is more about, and I suspect this is why Councilwoman Coleman was asking this question, because this is when I read this item, this is what was going through my mind is, how do we integrate the things we're already doing. And so when I read this, I was thinking, wait a minute, where are we not doing the things we need to do with our transit service, right? I mean, we know we want that to be a critical component of getting people to work. So that's kind of what my thought was. So I'd like to explore that with you further at some point. Would you just put a little note somewhere to remember to come back, in 6 months, 9 months, even bring the Pearl Project. Let us know how this is working, and let's keep that conversation open, because I really do want to see our CATS transit system be a vehicle, a lifeline for populations who are getting back into the workforce as well. So you may have some feedback that we need to pass on to CATS. The Pearl Project may have some feedback as well that we need to pass on to CATS. So I just, not opposed to it, just wanted to figure out how do we just connect all the dots, right?
Thank you so much. And so I'll come back in 6 months with the partners and let us talk about the data that we captured and gained from this experience.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Another question.
And I'll give him my last 29 minutes. 30
Well, based on coming back and reporting to us, how long is it going to take to get this program implemented?
It starts tonight, the approval from the council.
Are you going to pick up the bikes when you leave here?
I
Or?
can't even place the order until I get approval.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that the 6 months after full implementation they start actually using them.
Right. Well, as
So
soon
we
as I
can
can
have
get
a
the
full-
bike, we're going to have a full presentation. I mean, you guys are going to get all that. I'll make sure that all you guys included in that. But I can't even begin the process because I got to get approval first just to purchase it.
Councilwoman Adams, you good? Okay, we have a motion. It's been properly motioned and seconded. Do we have any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Okay, going back to items 99 and 100. We'll start with 99. There's been a request. Yes, Ms. Payment, please.
I was just reporting back to you that these were requested to be deleted because when they got their state and federal allocation, this was to help streamline their application process and go paperless, but they didn't receive enough funds from the state or the feds to support it. So.
Okay. Yep. That's right. So item 99, authorizing Mayor President through the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge Local Workforce Development Area 21 Employee BR to enter into a professional services agreement with Carasoft Technology Corp. in the amount of $54,720 for the period October 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025 by Workforce Investment Director. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion to delete? Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Item's been deleted. Item 100, authorizing Mayor President through the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, Local Workforce Development, Area 21, Employee BR to enter into a professional services agreement with Cloud Synapse, Inc. in the amount of $216,292 for the period of October 1st, 2024 through December 13th, 2024 by Workforce Investment Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion to delete? Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 103, authorizing Mayor President to accept a grant and enter into a contract on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services, Office of Social Services with the Louisiana Workforce Commission for a Community Services Block Grant in the amount of $1,410,349 by the Human Services Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Hudson. Second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 104, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development, adding $40,000, bringing the total not to exceed $1,836,240.69 between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Urban Restoration Enhancement Corporation by the Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hudson. We have a second. Second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 105, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to amend contract by adding $40,000, bringing total not to exceed $2,099,474.13 between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and YWCA Greater Baton Rouge by Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the council. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 106, we already did 106. Item 111, authorizing Mayor President to execute a contract with Hub International in the amount of $225,000 to provide consulting services for city parish benefits effective October 1st, 2024 for a period of 5 years with the option of 2 one-year extensions thereafter by Human Resources Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 111. Also, I would like to note for the record that Councilman Rocca is abstaining from item 111. Thank
you. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to go to appointments. Item 112 through 116, Fire Protection District Number 1 Advisory Board. Consideration of reappointing or replacing C. Jordan Chorley, whose term expires on August 23rd, 2024. Item 113, consideration of reappointing or replacing Charles Hall, whose term expires on August 23rd, 2024. Item 114, consideration of replacing Jesse Mullen, whose term expires August 23rd, 2024. Item 115, consideration of reappointing or replacing Larry Powinski, whose term expires on August 23rd, 2024. Item 116, consideration of reappointing or replacing Thomas Scott, whose term expires on August 9th, 2024. There's been a request by 5 of the 6 to remain, and then we have one new applicant. Is anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. I'll make a motion that we reappoint C. Jordan Charley, Charles Hall, Larry Powinski, Thomas Scott, and then we add Christy Grow in replacing Mr. Jesse Mullen, who was not seeking reappointment. I have a second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Did I say Thomas Scott? Okay, and to reappoint Thomas Scott. Apologies. Motion carries. Item 117, Historic Preservation Commission, consideration of replacing Amy Franson, whose term expired on August 12, 2024. Current ballot, Michael Beck, Spanish Town resident. Application submitted. Jason Hezek, Dreher Place resident. Application submitted. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in favor of Michael Beck for item 117.
Please state your name for the record.
I am the same Michael Beck, and I didn't come to speak, but if any members of the council want to interview me, have any questions, I'd be happy to oblige you.
I'd like to make the motion to. Oh.
Well, hang on. Does anyone else wish to speak on this item? Now we'll go to council.
I'd like to make the motion to appoint Mr. Michael Beck.
You have a second? Second by Councilwoman Amorosa. Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Beck. Item 118, Historic Preservation Commission, consideration of replacing Uyohu Iduk. This term will expire on September 22nd, 2024.
Point of order. What was that? Replace who?
You should have it in your
I didn't hear that.
Uyohu Iduk. Current ballot, Michael Beck. Well, he was just appointed. Jason Hezek, Richard Howes, Bailey Moss. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilwoman Rocca.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Jason Hessick.
We have a second. Second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Hezek. Done change orders. All right, item 126. Discussion of anti-discrimination equal opportunity policy in the plan of government for the parish of East Baton Rouge Parish, inclusive of purpose, scope, prohibitions, reporting, investigation, and resolution by Councilwoman Banks. There's been a request to defer this item.
I would like to make a motion to defer this item until the January calendar.
Motion to defer to January, second by Councilwoman Adams. Do we have any opposition?
I'll make a substitute motion to defer for October 9th.
Second.
We're going to vote on the substitute motion to defer to October 9th. Is there any opposition? Substitute motion carries. Good job. Item 127, there's been a request to delete this, receiving a report by BRPD Chief Morris and the administration regarding road closure permit timelines for Baton Rouge Slingshot Riders King of the Bayou event, July 12th and 13th by Councilwoman Banks. Anyone here wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion. Is there a motion to delete? Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion, item's been deleted. Item 128, a discussion of out-of-cart trash service by Councilman Aaron Moak. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? We're going to have the presentation and then we'll have the public hearing, actually.
So I don't think there's really a full-blown presentation. I know he's up there to speak because we're here to ask questions, and I have the representatives from RDI is here also. Okay. The reason I asked for this discussion item is I think this is one of the biggest things that, as far as contracts goes, that one of the biggest ones I think we've had a lot of problems with, and not just in my particular district, but I hear about it from other districts. Maybe not as bad as mine. Maybe mine's the worst. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but I want to give you your option to say or discuss this item here. My problem is I am constantly getting phone calls for two things. And this discussion has nothing to do with garbage in cart. This is strictly out of cart. And when I say out of cart, I'm mentioning two things. The items that can be put out by the road, the 10 items, and one of those items is a bundle of sticks, refrigerators, whatever you're putting out there, bags of leaves and stuff like that, up to 10 items per time. Then you have the problem, which is considered out of cart also, which we have, or we call it woody waste. And this is whether it's storm damage is handled under emergency contract. But regular trees falling, people go in their yard, they cut them down, or they call contractors that cut them down, and they're throwing, 300-foot tall pine trees out by the road with all the brush and everything else, and it's just sitting out there. So when we did this contract, and it became two separate things when it used to be one. It used to be one contract that Republic handled. Bless you. Bless you. Bring it up again, we'll vote on it. It was one contract. Well, Republic or whatever, for whatever reason, it separated into two different contracts. And look, I will sit here and be one of the ones, at least I will, from my standpoint as a council member, we approved this contract. We approved it, hoping it was going to work. We approved the out-of-cart contract as a separate contract, but I just don't think that it's working out the way the contract intended and the way we intended. Whether it's the point that maybe, and I hope they can talk and explain, whether RDI may not have the capability, the manpower, the size equipment that maybe didn't realize that we needed at the time. And I'm going to give you a chance to speak in just a moment. But I'm getting calls and complaints in my district about things that are just being left or they're not being picked up, whether they're filling up what they have, going to the dump, can't make it back. then they have to take on a different area at the time and so on. And then the whole other part is the woody waste and the trees. We know it's not in the contract that city parish is supposed to pick up trees that you cut down off of your property. We're not supposed to cut down trees on your property and put them out. It wasn't in the previous contract. It's not in this contract. And the reason I'm bringing that up is sometime previously, whether when Republic was doing it or not, sometime previously, somebody made a decision and said, you know, it's sitting out there, we're going to go pick it up. And you know how that works. Once you do it, then it becomes a situation where you got to keep doing it. People see the city parish doing it. Okay, well, they did it for this person. They'll come in and do it for the other person and so on. So the whole point of this discussion is two things. One, I want to know from Adam possibly what we might could do to enhance the RDI contract if it's not working out. And y'all can bring up your situations if you need to, if y'all are having the same problem. And what we can do about the woody waste and the evictions and things like that that are being thrown out of the road. Now, I know that's not an RDI problem. People get evicted from their place and they're emptying out their homes and they're throwing it out on the road. That's not an RDI's contract to just go out there to pick that up. But it's sitting there and we have to do something with it. Whether we send another contractor and we pay extra. But these are the things that we need to work out and we need to fix. We've been talking about this and we've been kicking this can down ever since we approved this contract, and we found out, again, I will take responsibility, there was no claw trucks in the contract, and we approved it anyway. And all after the fact, I'm sitting here going, holy crap, there was no contract, there's claw trucks in the contract. How are they going to do all of this work? So what I wanted to have was a discussion tonight to talk about what problems y'all might be having, what might we could help RDI enhance their services, what they're seeing that they can't pick up, or if there's any complaints about not being picked up. Then what can we do to take care of the woody waste and some of this other stuff, whether we have to create a third contract or something like that for out of cart. That's where I'm going with this. I hope y'all have a discussion on it because now is your time to do it. And we stop kicking this can down and we try and fix it here in the next little bit. Thank you.
Councilman Hurst.
Hey, so I got a quick question. So I don't know if it's covered, but like a 4x8 corrugated, just regular like sign we put on the side of the road, is that something that would normally be picked up? Or is that too big? Watch this.
Excuse me, how you doing? My name is Dwight Richard of Richard Disposal. I'm the general manager of the Baton Rouge Yard. Mr. Moak, I heard your comments, and you used the term not working.
Hold 1 second, because you got to address, it's on my time, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just had a lot of comments based on what he was saying. What was your question? I'm sorry.
So a 4x8 sign or a 4x4 sign, if it's like a piece of corrugated board or something like that, if it's left on the road, is that outside the scope of the size of what y'all would normally pick up?
A 4x8 sign, pretty much much.
Yeah, about from me to Aaron, and about 4 feet wide.
Are you talking about political signs that are missing?
No, I'm not talking about political signs.
If it's a sign, we more than likely our trucks will get it. If it's construction, because
No. It's just been in my driveway for 2 months trying to get picked up. That's why I asked that. It's not political, but it was not picked up. Correct. It's not political signs. It's been on the street in my driveway to the point where I keep having to put them under my carport. So I'm talking personal experiences. And I don't call and I don't do I'm the councilman stuff because I don't want the priority. I want to see how they treat everybody, right? So that's just my personal experience. But I've had the same issues throughout my district. And transparently, it's the same issues we had with Republic Waste when they had the out of cart. The carts were always fine because you just lift and dump, right? And if we miss it, we come back. It's never been the out of cart for the most part. In cart, it's always been the out of cart stuff that we've had issues with. Some of the blight stuff that we're talking about with Aaron, and I don't want to speak for Rachel, but I believe some of that does fall under blight. I have some of the heavily blighted areas, and I'm not going to ask you to pick that up because that's a homeowner's responsibility. The landlord to be able to do that and maintain his property, and if not, I'm going to call Lindsay or Rachel or somebody sent through our blight department. But Do y'all pick up tires too? Is that y'all?
That's correct.
Oh, Adam, can you come to the mic and just tell them how bad my district is with tires that never get picked up, that are properly stacked?
Okay, so what they're picking up is just what's in front of
Again,
a
the pictures I
residence.
sent you in Montesano, outside of the 200, the whole area has had 4 tires stacked up on a regular basis. That's why I said, hey, it's not just the 200 under the bridge. It's the 4 that are properly stacked up now have weeds growing through them because they were never picked up. So I don't know how we improve this, but what's going on right now can't continue. And look, I always, and maybe I thought it was just North Baton Rouge, but I know this happening everywhere. We got to figure out a way to make this better, because tires, my personal experience at my house, I did it on purpose because I wanted to see if it was me or it was everybody, right? Never called in. I want to see how many times I had to put it out for y'all to pick it up. These are featherweight items. I'm not even talking about something heavy. So if it's happening to me, I know it's happening to my neighbors, happening to the folks in my district. And at this point, Adam, I mean, it's really bad. It's as bad as it was with Republic when they had it. And I love Republic, great people, but this service was not good for them, which is probably why they got rid of it. Yeah, and it should have been stayed in bundled so we can hold one person accountable. But something's got to improve. We got to go in a different direction. Thank you.
Councilman Hudson.
So I know it's not a report necessarily, it's a discussion item, but Adam, I'm hoping you can possibly provide like 311 data for us. What are our number of requests? What's the trend? What are we looking at as far as complaints that we're receiving and that kind of thing?
Yeah, roughly we're at, on average, we're a little over 100, give or take, a week, okay, for what we're talking about now, which is missed hand pile service. And okay, so we have, that's reported, yes, that's reported. So we have 134,000 customers. They would each get service once a week under the hand pile service. And like I said, on average, we're at about 100 a week, give or take, depending on season.
And how does that compare to when Republic had the contract?
It's on par.
It's on par.
For a while, when we first transitioned from the old contract to the new contract, that was one of the things that we were tracking, was to see, okay, what is this at the same week the prior year, what did it look like? And I mean, there was some fluctuation, but there's nothing that's just way out of line where it's, 2 to 3 times or anything like that. It's on par.
And are y'all, that 100 a week number that you're giving me, is that like validated complaints, or are you actually getting more complaints that are associated with
No, that's a good,
the request not being compliant with the set out guidelines?
That's a good point. I should have pointed that out. That is raw numbers that just pull it out of Q Alert, and that's what it is.
So there's a significant number of these that you'll get out there, and then the pile will be larger than what we allow, or they'll have a big tree trunk in it, or something like that.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important to note. I mean, the data and the complaints really do matter. That's similar. The issue that we had with Republican Cart Service is what caused us to eventually add those items for a quarterly report on this. And I think we're to that point now with this. So I think we should work on that and sort of create a performance metric that we can gauge this by, so we can start watching it. But I will tell you from being a constituent also who uses the service, and I'm using the service at a rental property where I've got a tenant, and I'm using the service where at my own home. And I can tell you, my rental property is in Councilman Hurst's district. I do see a difference. I see a lot of hand pile woody waste that's not getting picked up. And I don't know if, not everybody knows to call 311 or what, but it does feel like there's a difference. It does feel like there's compliant piles that are consistently not getting picked up. And so maybe the data doesn't pan that out just yet, but I think it's something we need to start looking at closer. And just would ask our contractors, just please be mindful. Just make sure you're running your routes. Make sure you're picking up all the compliant piles and addressing the service the way it should be. But thank y'all. I appreciate y'all coming down here too.
Councilwoman Rocca.
So I think we can all agree that our constituents are angry about trash in general. They're mad about the Republic contract, they're mad about the increases, they're mad about all sorts of things. And I think there's a general misunderstanding of who's responsible for what and who is supposed to be doing what. So I'm assuming that you guys aren't receiving a lot of grace in that area, and you're probably getting blamed for a lot of things that other companies it may be their responsibility. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, and I hope to give you that grace. But with that being said, Mr. Smith, can you tell us what they're responsible for so everyone does have an understanding, so these gentlemen don't take the heat for other folks that may not be doing what they're supposed to be doing that have contracts with the city, please?
Absolutely. So they have specifically out-of-cart service, and it's basically what you can load into the back of a truck. We talked about the boom trucks earlier, so that is not in their contract as a service, the way that the contract is set up. So what it's supposed to be is, if you can, as a resident, if you can bring something out to the curb yourself, whether it's a pile of limbs, sticks, whatever. White goods is another item. So if you've got an old washing machine, dishwasher that broke, whatever the case may be, you can put that out at the curb. That's one of the items that they accept. Tires is another one. A resident can put out up to 4 tires individually, and we will pick them up. Where 4 comes from is LDEQ has a limit of 5. We stay one below that, and we say 4. That's why we've set that limit there. And then the other thing is, let's say you get a new sofa, new chair, whatever the case may be. You want to put the old one out. That's considered a bulky item. You can put that out at the curb and pick that up.
Okay, thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
One of the things that's not allowed that was in the prior contract. Now, there's a couple of things that I see that are causing a lot of issues. It's fence sections is an issue. Okay, it's fences. Now, you can put individual fence boards at the curb. That's okay. But if it's a fence section, that is generally, most of the time, that's a contractor that's doing that. If they're taking an 8-foot section of wooden fence and they're cutting it in half, and you got 2 4-foot wide sections of wooden fence, and it's sitting out there at the curb, and it's all stacked up in a nice, neat pile. There may be a resident or two that's doing it that way, but for the most part, that's a contractor that's doing that.
Thank you so much. And I think that's a key piece of just understanding what they're responsible for, because we are getting complaints about things that I don't think the public truly understands the changes that occurred this previous year and what that looks like. There are a lot of new rules. The second piece that I want to add is I've seen your employees out. I've seen these people hanging off the backs of trucks, and I've seen them lifting heavy things and throwing them into the trucks. And I have to commend them, because that is a lot of hard work to do. Can you please, Mr. Smith, tell us who has the boom trucks currently with the city? Who's operating those? Where'd those go?
So we're working through RDI, and we're using some of their boom trucks, and then we're also we've got a contract with DRC that we're using as well. And it, like in May, when we had the windstorm in May, we brought in DRC because they've got the larger capacity trucks. But for the most part, we're working with RDI. And like you said, it's because residents don't know. As much as we tried to push out there, we're still saying, well, I didn't know it changed. Okay. So if it's now we're not doing hey, I cut down a whole tree, or obviously a contractor did it and we're picking it up. But if it's something that, a resident could probably do that, but they just didn't know it changed, then we're using the boom trucks right now, and we're saying, hey, just letting you know, the rules changed. We're going to pick it up this time, but going forward, we're not going to do that anymore. So that's how we're using the boom trucks right now.
Moving forward, do you see, my district has a lot of woody waste, and I understand that it's different in some of that.
Councilwoman, you want extra time?
Yes, sir. As long as I can have some of Daryl's later. So I understand that some other the districts have lots more trees than mine do, but I have people that'll go and cut limbs and prune their yard, and they have piles of woody waste, especially in the South Downs area, that obstruct the road and all those sorts of things. Do we see a path moving forward to where maybe we can potentially assist them in adding some boom trucks to their contract, or helping them increase their contract so that maybe we can get some of those things back? Because over the past year, my constituents have surely been sore about not having those services that they were once accustomed to receiving.
No, that's absolutely something that we want to talk to you all about. I had mentioned to Councilman Moak when I saw this item on the agenda. We were in the process of gathering some information, and then we're going to probably have some meetings, maybe in 3 groups or something, and bring different things to y'all to help make some decisions on that.
Thank you for that. I would like to be involved in those. I know that, again, my constituents are really still a little sore about all the changes that have occurred, and I do see these men and their employees out working very, very hard. I just think that it might be something that we need to evaluate, adding some of those services back, because it's definitely impacted us a lot in District 12, and I won't speak for everyone else's districts, but that is one of our number one complaints. I think the only thing that would be close to even coming close would be crime. But the thing right next to it is absolutely just trash. And I don't think it's any fault of yours. I just think it's some of the soreness that comes with the recent changes in people not understanding, and also just some lesser services that we've had before.
No, it's on. I mean, you've got lifetime residents of the parish that's all they've ever done, and they're used to doing it that way, and they expect to continue doing it that way. And when you live in the heavily wooded areas, it's much more prevalent.
Yes, sir. And I don't mean to be that to be a criticism to either one of you gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you. I thought Councilwoman Rocker made some good points, and also offered and extended Adam an opportunity to offer a point of clarity that's much needed. We don't understand the transition and the change fully, so it's hard to expect the public to understand who's doing what. So thank you for that point of clarity. To piggyback on Councilman Moak, I think I'm gonna take some accountability when we made this change and made this transition and improved the contract as is. I didn't understand and realize what the magnitude or the transition of these changes would be. I wish I would have evaluated it a little bit more and got a better grasp of the outcomes, because they have changed. We lost some service, we transitioned some services and things of that nature. I did make the point that when we was doing this, it was very telling to me that if Republic was willing to let this service go, that it had to be some sort of loss leader. They're not trying to reduce revenue, and it appears to be that. So with it being a loss leader, whether they have it or RDI has it, there are going to be some challenges. So we need to look at the revenue, we need to look at the scope, we need to look at the equipment that's required for this, and we need to be realistic with our desired outcome as it relates to this service, because as was mentioned before, there were some challenges when Republic had it. There are some challenges now. One thing I will say, I have gotten calls, I've gotten emails, and when I brought those issues to your attention or the vendor's attention, they've responded in a timely manner and addressed them. Not saying we didn't get calls and concerns, we have gotten some, but when I brought it to their attention, the vendor responded and addressed it within a timely manner. That's been our experience in District 6. I can't speak to anybody else. One of the things that was brought to my attention, and I don't know if this is still the case, we're talking with the vendor where there was previously a regular run route with this. There is no regular run route, or there was no regular run route at the time I had that conversation. Is that still the case? Is there no regular run route?
there's no regular run route with the boom trucks themselves.
So I think that's a part of the problem. If we just on demand, on request, there are going to be things left in your driveway for an extended period of time if you're not regularly running. I don't know that all of us knew that. I don't know that the public knows that. I like to see a regularly run route. I like to know whether that's twice a week, once a week, twice a month, whatever that is, that the truck is going to come around the area and check. Because I think most people probably expecting that, maybe in a week or 2 weeks that they'll come. And then when they don't come in 3 weeks and a month go by, that's when we get in the call. So I think we need to look at a regular run route. The last time we had some of these conversations, go ahead.
I don't want to take up some time. Are you talking about a regular run route for
Just for-
RDI or the?
No, just for RDI, just for RDI.
Because Adam just mentioned the boom truck is not on a regular run route.
They on the regular route.
Is RDI?
Well, let me
on a
let
regular
Adam
run
click.
route?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So the rear load trucks, which are the hand piles, that is on a regular run route like it was before. It's the boom truck. There's not enough boom trucks to run the entire route every single day. So what they're doing is they're when somebody sees it, it gets radioed back in, and then they handle it that way. But
Well, I like to see a regular run route with that because, again, I don't know that everybody know that that's the expectation. And we talked about this before about, putting the right messaging out there to communicate whatever the process is. Let's communicate that. But I think a regularly run route would help. Secondly, we talked before about these staging sites or locations, for lack of a better word. What was the proper
collection
term?
facility.
Collection facilities. Have we fully implemented that? How is that working if we have?
We have one. It's next to the South Wastewater Treatment Plant in the Gardere area in Councilman Goday's district. It's working real well. It's growing in popularity. I think I've seen, we've getting a dozen up to 15 people a day maybe. And it's been interesting. It's areas that it's not just in that one little small area that people are bringing it. It's from the southern portion of the parish.
Yes, sir. Double nickel me, please, sir.
So I think it's working well. Yes.
So we talked about 3 or so that we plan to roll out, right? What's the timeline on the additional ones that we?
We'll have to look into some additional sites, see where we may put the next one.
Am I not correct in that we was talking
No,
about?
we were going to look at 2 to 3. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah. So I think that'll help, ease some of the burden. Yeah. But regular route, go ahead and fully implementing that. And the last thing I want to mention, and it was kind of sort of mentioned before, is in this conversation with so many vendors, DRC, RDA, Republic, knowing who does what, and something that we all get calls and blame for is none of them or our responsibility. Is these people who are transitioning from one location to another, where they moving and they're just putting this stuff out on the curb. This is not in any of these individual scope of work. Many of these sites, these fourplexes and apartments, are seen as commercial, and a lot of that debris is the responsibility of the property or landowner. But we get the calls, but then the stuff sits out there, and it creates an eyesore and blight and all those things. So we get those calls, and the general public expects us to have the vendor to take care of it. So I don't know the solution to that. I don't know the solution to that, but we need to have a conversation about how we can get our heads wrapped around what are some other cities and municipalities doing to address situations like that, because we have a lot of that in my district where people are moving and they just leaving the stuff at the curb. So do you have any feedback or any?
Not much, other than I agree with you in that it's an issue, and I don't have a solution, but it's something that we need to have conversation about.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming down.
Councilman Hurst?
Hey, anytime we're in here and it feels like it's a beat up session, I want my time back in. Why am I down to 3 minutes instead of 5? Oh, I just want to make sure. Thank you. Now I can speak. So it's not a beat up session. Like the punches get hit in our direction, And it's like if somebody calls me about an energy outage at 9 o'clock at night, guess what I'm calling at 9 o'clock? My energy rep. If somebody calls me about trash at 9 o'clock, I'm calling Adam. That's your job, not mine. But I'm going to direct to the person that's involved. Now, what I will say is that Adam has been a gem in the position. I want to give you a tremendous kudos for that. Anytime I call you, you're extremely responsive and you get it resolved. So this is not a beat up Adam or really beat up RDI session. This is something's wrong. It was wrong before y'all took over the contract and it's wrong after y'all took it over. And we have to figure out how to fix it. And Cleve said something that I disagree with. The consumer doesn't care who gives the service. They don't need to know what company's doing it. They know I got a water bill. It had my sewage on it. It had my trash on it. I paid the bill, and I expect my service to get done. I don't care what label's on the truck, as long as it gets done. So explaining the difference between RDI and Republic, that's the consumer don't need to know that, a constituent. They just need to know my trash went to the curb and it got picked up because I paid my bill. It's like if you go to a restaurant and you order a meal and they bring you a receipt. If they don't bring me the meal that I paid for, I'm not paying that bill till they fix it, right? So, but if we hold them hostage and they say, I'm not paying my bill, then their water gets cut off. So it's doing them a disservice because they don't have any leverage to say, I'm going to stop paying you until you do what you're getting paid for, right? It's number one. Number two, whatever. And we talked about earlier, I'll tell you a conversation I had with Adam. And I want to say this publicly on the mic, that storm debris, that disaster debris has always been stored in District 5 across from the old brick headquarters. Smelled horrible for months at a time when it's there because it's not always pulled away. And I told Adam and I told Corey, I said, if y'all put debris over there, I'm going to hold a press conference in front of it. And I'm going to make sure it never happens again. And he came to me this storm and he said, hey, are you okay? Let's have a discussion. I said, I'm not. Don't have storm debris over there. And one of the main reasons why I'm in my discussion is because I have one of the most blighted districts. And when you talk about only 100 people calling in, let me tell you why. Because my conversation with Adam was, when a kid's out there playing basketball in one of the second most heavily visited park in all of East Baton Rouge Parish, and he's used to trash being across the street from him while he's playing basketball, eventually he doesn't see the trash. Blight becomes normalcy, which it should never be. And in districts where you didn't pick up my tires for 7 months, and I called 7 months ago, and I got frustrated, and I got pissed off, and I just got tired of calling because I feel like the white said, I'm in North Baton Rouge and I get treated differently. I'm used to getting beat up by police. I'm used to being harassed. I'm used to getting, and I'm not saying all police, I'm just telling you the stereotypes that come in minority-based districts, right? That I'm getting targeted. I'm not going to call. I can be shorted of services because at some point I'm used to being crapped on. Well, I don't want anybody in my district used to having tires, trash, police brutality, or anything. I'm going to hold everybody accountable. And so we fight for minority contractors all the time. We do. And we were so happy that you guys got the job. But we're going to beat you up the same way we did Republic if you don't do the service right. And minority or not, I'm going to ask for somebody to come there, whether it's white, black, yellow, brown, green, somebody who's just going to pick the trash up, man. And the final thing is this. I was in the same meeting with Cleve when we talked about marketing and telling the people how important it is, getting billboards, using caricatures and animation, something's going to catch their attention, right? So we had the Mickens Wyden meeting. I just talked about this earlier. We pay all these big firms to do these big jobs, and no shot at Franklin and Associates because they have moved EBR. But I said, Fred, I need about $600-700 worth of signs because Mickens Road is a major thoroughfare in my district. And if I want to hold a meeting, I want to hold a real meeting like I do for my district. I stayed out, did it myself, put them out till about 2 a.m. one night, and we had 150 people show up. You know why? Because they had signs out there, because they had the ability to see when a meeting was, what was happening, what the changes were. And it was the most attended MoveBR meeting in the history of the program. So my point is, if whatever we're doing is not working to inform them, we have a sign shop that we can put in every district that gives instruction on what they should do and how they should do it. So if what we're doing is not working, I got it. what we're not doing is not working. We need to try something different. Thank you.
Councilwoman Adams.
I just wanted to say thank you to the gentleman from RDI. It's certainly been a process, not your fault, but the education process with our homeowners association, our neighbors, it's been intense. People don't understand, but we've been working with them, and we run into a few hitches along the way. People who didn't understand, or elderly people. And when we've called y'all because we needed help, y'all have shown up. And so I want to say thank you for that, because sometimes we just reach a place where education doesn't work. We just got to do what we got to do. And thank you for being good partners when we hit those bumps. So I'll tell you, the morning after the storm, your guys were on my street. early, first thing, smiles on their faces. Just I don't know. District 11, I've had great guys, great truck drivers. It's really been a good relationship. So just thank y'all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Coleman.
Yes, sir. I have a lot of trash, a lot of blight, a lot of everything in 10. And so what I did was I reached out because some of those gentlemen that work in the blight department said to me that blight can help out other departments because they have the front loaders and they have all the equipment that's needed. And that they were not out there even during the storm to help out because of not being able to get overtime, which didn't make sense to me. They work on private property. They deal with condemnations, demolition, illegal dumping, all of this. So I want to know, why is it that we are not making use of that entity? All of it is city parish. Why is it that we are not making use of, and they are willing to do the work, and they have a group of inmates that help with the cleaning and all of that. So that's what I need to know about why. And then I'm going to tell you, after the storm, and I'm going to have to say DPW and others were out there picking up and cleaning out the different areas. And so that was great. But I'm not talking about just storm time. I'm talking about ongoing picking up and getting this trash and stuff where it ought to be. I was embarrassed today when I got on a CATS bus to take some folk around to see our district. And there was so much stuff that was out there that really had been out there. This wasn't storm stuff that really should have been picked up. Waste management dumpster just overflowing at an apartment complex on France. And I'm still waiting for them to call me back about that. And so, but my question is, if we have employees that work with blight and they have the equipment, why there is no collaboration in order to make our districts better?
Councilwoman Coleman, there is plenty of blight and they have plenty to do. They work, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, picking up blight. We have a backlog that they have because I'll say more districts than not have $0 left in their ARPA dollars, yours included. So we're covering a whole lot of stuff, and they were on standby for the storm to go support the Department of Maintenance, who is responsible for maintaining the right-of-way. And we were not called to support them. So I let my guys have their time, but they were on standby, and I made sure that they were aware of that. Standby
and working is two different things, Rachel.
Agreed, but the Department of Maintenance is responsible for clearing trees from the right-of-way, and they have specific things that they have to do and documentation for storms and stuff like that, and we were not asked to assist. They had it covered.
I don't know if they had it covered, but the point is you weren't asked. And I can understand that because that's what they said, that they were not asked and were not allowed to work. So that's my question, is that collaborative effort between the different entities. Trash is trash.
And the three entities, DES, Department of Development, and Department of Maintenance, do work regularly hand in hand by assisting each other. When the Department of Maintenance has stuff that they can't get to, we go help them all the time. And DES is always there to help us too when we have, some big jobs that we just can't get to.
Trina, are you here?
She's not.
She's not. I had a conversation with Trina about this, and the response was about an issue of overtime pay for this population. And so that's my concern there. Until it's cleaned up.
Councilwoman, you want your extra time?
Yes, please. Until it's cleaned up, then that's what we need to do. Now, we're talking about going out and finding someone who's going to be able to do the boom truck. We're talking about another contract as opposed to utilizing what we have in-house. And then that will assist our employees in their salaries. That's my concern there. And so I think that that's something that we need to look at. And if Blight can help out, and I know that they can, then because that over time, that is of utmost. They can do that. And I know that because I've had conversations with them. All right.
Councilman Moe?
All right, thank you. Yeah, so I think we'll kind of bring this close. Two things I want to bring up. I think we need a solution to the evictions or people moving and throwing their stuff out to the road. Those are specific things. I get it. That's not in y'all's contract to go out there and pick those up. One of the things that I'm seeing, and hopefully we can take in all these ideas and work on solutions. Look, we want to help y'all succeed. We want to take care of our citizens without looking like we're just constantly trying to catch up. So I hope we can use this discussion as a way to enhance, make the contract better, fix what we can. Look, we don't want to go up on pricing, but some things we have to look at everything from a whole scope of what we took out of the contract or how we changed the contract that's different, educate people and so on. And I know we talk about that every time, send out mail out flyers, or we post this and we always post in a little postcard that says what you can put out and how it gets put out and all. Obviously, a lot of that's not working. I've seen people put maybe just something to take back to y'all's people. And Adam, I've called you about this. We've had people put out maybe 13 or 14 items. And everything gets skipped because it's too many items. Okay? Instead of just grabbing 10, leaving 4, a lot of the times it gets, a lot of them, the 10 items will get skipped or so on that they can put out at a time. Again, I think y'all are busting your butts to get things done. I think y'all are out there every day. Like Councilwoman Rocca said, I see y'all out there too. And you're lifting that stuff, you're trying to get it done. But I think there's just some things that we need to tweak. Adam, we discussed this earlier. I think y'all are looking at a plan. I love the fact that a while back during that storm that came through, you brought on DRC with the boom truck thing and look, every time, like fellow council members have said, we call your office, you get it done. When you send RDI, they get it done. It's just we're seeing things that hopefully we can fix to where we don't have to call y'all that way constantly and much more. So RDI, please don't take this as, we're just beating y'all down and so on. We just want to find a way to make it better for not only y'all, for us as council members and especially our constituents that are seeing this stuff out there all the time. So thank y'all very much for coming. RDI, I don't think y'all have spoke one time. So I want to give this opportunity to y'all. If y'all have anything to say or any comments as far as what we've said to y'all. You got 2 minutes to go.
Nathan Antoine, Operation Manager at Richards Disposal. Well, from what I see, or I guess you say with the contract itself, we've made some preventive things so far to help some of the things that y'all spoke about. So as Mr. Hurst was talking about that board, it's just getting everybody on the same page because a lot of stuff has changed in the contract. So what they used to pick up, when they used to pick up everything, we're telling them you can't pick up construction, you can't pick up tree debris, so far as tree services or evictions. So we made the corrections so far as with the drivers because they may have deemed that board as a construction, which is maybe just, you've said it's one board. I apologize for that, but we have a system now that each driver does not, whatever they don't pick up, they call it in. So that is a preventive measure that we put in place so that we'll know everything that's on that street. So if they didn't pick it up, they call it in and we can get the right truck to it, be it, our boom truck or our flatbed truck, or we have to call Adam so forth with DRC or whoever, Blight, that comes by and pick up the other stuff that we can't pick up. So we've made some changes to what we see or what we saw that was confusion sometimes on some of the drivers. But, it's just some small things that we tweaked and you should see a difference. But like I say, when the storms come in, I talk to Adam very often. It's always going to be a tweak. And like I say, with the 311 system, it's a lot of I guess you say, I guess you say they miscoded, which we would go out there and it's a boom pile instead of a hand pile, or, it's something that we don't pick up. So, with all that, it's just to say that, we're doing the things that needs to be done to correct a lot of the things that y'all spoke in the meeting. So we've had a meeting just yesterday. So we have a meeting every Wednesday. And that was this morning. I'm getting my days.
All right, that's Tom. Councilman Moak.
Okay.
Councilman Hudson.
Adam, I just wanted a real quick point of clarification because now we're in a storm debris pickup contract.
Right.
Is RDI still picking up hand piles while the storm debris contract is active?
They're picking up hand piles, but we've diverted their boom trucks to other items. So they're not picking up the woody waste boom piles because we want the disaster debris contractor to pick that up.
The reason why I ask this is because in my district, which we have a lot of mature trees in my district, but most of the piles from this storm ended up still being hand piles. Yes. They're going to continue to pick those up?
The small hand piles, yes. They're going to continue to pick those up.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Do you mind if I have 30 seconds of your time?
I'm supposed to ask you a question. Do you have any other points you'd like to add, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So two points of clarification. I get a couple of y'all talked about the different contracts. I just wanted to point out that was something that concerned me a little bit at first. I didn't know how that was going to work because I'm like, somebody said it's like, I'd rather have a prime. I don't know who said it, but rather have a prime and a sub. And when we're managing projects, contracts, whatever the case may be, that's what we would obviously prefer. You got one person to go to, and they handle their subs. I will say after transitioning to this, it's actually working really well. And again, I understand there's issues, and we're going to continue to work through those issues. But looking at the numbers, looking at different things, it's Republic can focus on the garbage and the recycling carts and just focus on the carts, and then we've got a second contractor that focuses on the items that are out of cart. And I think having those people be able to just totally focus on two different things instead of having the way it was before. RDI was here before, but they had a garbage route, they had a recycling route, they had some out of cart routes. Now they get to have their own little area of expertise. and I think it's working out a lot better, and I think it's going to continue to improve. Secondly, to Councilwoman Coleman's point, we will, when we come back to you, whenever we schedule meetings with you with different ideas, it'll be all inclusive. We'll look at contractors, in-house, whatever the case may be, but it will come to you with an all-inclusive plan that discusses everything. So, thank you.
All right, now that discussion's been had, we're going to open a public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this? Seeing none. Councilwoman Amorosa. Announcements. We have Mr. Luke from Live After 5 who'd like to say something. Yeah?
Yeah, I guess. So just the mic. Okay. I just want to be here because we had an introduction earlier about a supplemental request for $7,500 for Live After 5 to continue the second line. Thanks, Rowdy. You already said thanks in an email. I'm going to take that. But I just wanted to be here in case you haven't been to Live After 5 in quite a while. I do have some wristbands for everybody for this upcoming Friday if you want to see the second line in action and see exactly how Live After 5 is a huge community organization that supports all of East Baton Rouge Parish.
Hey, if you don't mind, can I bring up what we discussed as far as what we're going to do in Central real quick? Sure. So Live After 5 is looking to develop a on-the-road program to where, now we already had the October that was available, we already have an outdoor event scheduled in Central, so I put him on to Councilman Knoll, but they're looking to take Live After 5 on the road so they can help the stage and everything get set up in your area and have an event possibly in different parts of the parish for people that can't come downtown on every Friday or something like that. So something to think about. Get with him. Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you, Luke. Any other announcements? All right. Thank you again for your service. Remember, serve your families, serve your communities, but first, serve God. God bless.